All right, and we're here.
Here beeth the place we be.
All right, we're here. And
Here beeth.
there we go. That was doing the weird thing where it mimics a thing.
Ah, yes. I unmuted Twitch when my belch went through, so I heard my belch again on Twitch.
Yeah, I mean, don't do that.
I apologize. Oh, goodness gracious.
Hello, everybody. It's been a bit.
It's been a few weeks, Jelly Spoons, because people had so much going on. There was the PAX Expo, and then there were weddings. I think, was it 2 weddings at for 2 separate people on 2 separate weeks? Is that what happened?
Because when you guys were at PAX, I was in misery watching my stepbrother get married.
I actually hope that's like where he got married, like a place named Misery.
Yeah, it was just a weird way of saying Missouri. It was miserable.
It's in Idaho.
I mean, it was miserable for me. I got to see my family, but not everybody at there. Like, her family was lovely. Parts of my family were not so great.
You have the curse of knowledge of knowing your family.
Yeah. But, it was cool. It was cool. So thank you guys for going to PAX, because I would hate to have been like, hey guys, I'm out for 2 weeks. Oops.
Here's the thing about PAX. It was not great.
Anemic is the word.
I never really enjoyed PAX, so I'm glad. I'm sad because
I never enjoyed PAX, so I'm glad that you didn't.
No, that's
now you can share in my misery.
The pedal back.
Yeah, anemic is the word I like to use for this year's PAX, because
That's unfortunate.
Most definitely.
Yeah, it had nothing worthwhile. Nothing that like astonished me or blew me away in any way. There were the biggest company there. I mean, you've been to PAX, so you know like the major companies. The biggest company there was Bandai Namco, which tells you that there were no big companies there.
Yeah, that's kind of surprising.
And it was mostly like indie devs.
Well, that's kind of cool though.
So here's the thing: the way I've put it to other people is that I don't mind the size of it. I don't even mind the content of it. Like it being mostly indie devs with like one big studio. That's not wrong. That's cool. What I mind is them still charging full price for it. And then putting out the schedule and the list of vendors like 4 days before the event with the really small showing that went there. That's the part that's not cool.
Yeah, the price point didn't match the content.
Yeah, like we were sort of under the impression of, oh, they're just not going to have it. All right, that's fine. Like we just won't go. And then they decided we are going to have it, and I was like, oh shit, they're gonna have it. Like this should be cool. And so I bought 2 4-day badges, like one for me and one for Danielle. And it just was not worth it. Like that was $500 in badges. And
I mean, I got 3 badges, one for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I didn't even go on Saturday. And I went on Sunday. I was there for a few hours, maybe. It was definitely not worth the price point that they were charging at this year, especially with the lack of panels. There were like close to no panels this year.
Yeah.
Which is one of the main reasons I go to PAX, because I love sitting in on panels.
Yeah, I like going to the panels too. Though I will say that for the ones that we got, because since everybody had to spread out, there were no line enforcers just constantly screaming at people, which is great because line enforcers can fuck themselves.
They are the worst of the enforcers.
Yes. Like I've had people tell me that I can't be in a line because I wouldn't get up when I purposely said, is this where the end of the line will be? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, then I'm going to sit down here. Like I can't just stand on this fucking concrete floor for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit down right here, bud.
Yeah, I had an okay time. Like the best part was meeting people in line for me for most of the things, which is a really weird thing. Like a couple of the games I saw were cool. wish listed them. Most I had already, and it was like, this kind of, I could do all of this in about 30 minutes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that was the thing is like it wasn't bad. It was a cool little trade show, but it was
Mm-hmm.
something that you could accomplish with like a 1-day pass. So we went on Friday and stayed for like we were gonna do the whole thing and like go to Acquisitions Incorporated and all that shit. And then at like 5, I was like, let's just go. And thankfully, that's the day that Wrath of the Righteous came out, and I just played that. And then Saturday I played that, and Sunday I played that, and then Monday I was like, all right, we should probably go there just to buy the shit that we wanted to buy.
Yeah.
So
that's why I saw you there that day.
oh, did you see me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the little orange car driving around the corner as you
Yeah.
were leaving.
Yeah. we went there, managed to find a parking spot across the street, which tells you how empty it was. Find a parking spot across the street at 11 o'clock, walk over. We bought all the stuff that we wanted. Danielle wanted some shirts, and I wanted some a couple of books. Got those, and just left, and got some like sushi on the way home. And then I came home and I played more Wrath of the Righteous. There was a lot of Wrath of the Righteous so far this week. Played a lot of Wrath of the Righteous.
It's a fun game.
I'm sorry. What was the name of that game? One
The
more
game
time? I
is
didn't hear it.
Wrath of the Righteous, which
Oh,
I
okay.
bought on Friday night and have already put 50 hours into,
Oh, you too?
Well,
which should tell you maybe how much I'm playing Wrath of the Righteous. I usually get very little sleep. This week, I've gotten very, very little sleep.
Yeah. When oh god, that begs the question. When did I purchase this game? Because I also have about 50 hours in it. I think I saw you playing it for like half a day. I was like, all right, I guess it's good if John Eric's putting that much time into it. And then I bought it and I was like, son of a bitch.
I also make very
yourself.
I make very slow decisions when it's time to level, just because I don't want to have to go back and level again. Like at least they put in a guy now who you can talk to like respec your dudes.
That's always nice.
Though there are some issues with it, I guess. But I mean, at least he's there.
They had some issues that they patched out today
Yeah.
with him where like certain archetypes were not counting when you respect. Like it just didn't work, and multi-classing was having an issue for sure.
Yeah. There's always some issues with it, but you know. All right. Well, you guys want to get started?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's play the game.
We could.
I mean, or we could just shit on PAX for another couple hours.
I mean,
I tell you,
that'd be pretty wild.
Let's be honest. Because Noah planned PAX this year, I don't think we can.
Oh, so Noah's the one behind all of this.
Noah.
No.
We're bringing this back to a conversation we had when the mics were off.
You're welcome, Noah.
All right. So
for anybody, go ahead.
last week, the team, and by last week I mean 3 weeks ago when we played, the team got back to the town of New Seer after what in playtime had been about 4 months. In game time, they felt like had been about a week and a half, but in actuality, which they found later, had been just under a month since they left. They lost somewhere on the road. They lost 3.5 weeks. When they came back, they talked to some friends. I believe Lumio went and well, first they all spoke to Prince Orgev, the Prince in Exile, and they told him like, "Hey, here's what happened, and we got your notices for the deed. So now you own all the land between New Seer and the quarry, and we got some information, and we all have golden bones. So if you could maybe help us with that, that would be great." And yeah, so then Lumio spoke with the Alpha Elder Alder and told Alder that Zeract won't be coming back because now she lives in the sewers underneath Star Alaska like a tiny goblin rat.
wow.
Wow.
The wording might have been a little different, but I think that was more or less the feeling.
No, you definitely got the wording right.
Yeah. I'm
That's
pretty-
what Noah told him that I said.
That's what Noah. He gave Alder a bunch of money that Zarak wanted to put towards Clawtown, and Dandarin spoke to his sister and then began crafting a ton of stuff. Uswin, news-wise, I think she only told you that, like, she's been helping out Cogsworth with some of his, like, facial accoutrements, and that Kellark was back in town looking for you a couple weeks ago. And then Sharut downloaded the entire story to Darlal, because she's an actual, like, speaker for, keeper of stories for the Keshvalar, and she basically made him tell everything that happened in exacting detail so that she can decide what's actually important for keeping the story. He also saw that, like, Ryteel's doing pretty good and seems to be adapting to city life a little bit more than he and Darlal are. Let's see, words. Deliad spoke with Malkin, who thought that he got cold feet, but is like, hey, I'm actually glad to see that you're sticking with this, and I'm gonna do what I can to get you an actual in with the house, but it's probably gonna take some time, because there's not exactly a lot of us, so I'll send off for it, but in the meantime, just lay low, don't do anything too crazy. And yeah, so after that, everybody did some of the city building, using the city building system that I totally built myself and did it not at all steal from Kingmaker. Kingmaker being the game that came before Wrath of the Righteous, which is what I've been playing a lot this last week. For the kingdom building, basically everything was broken down into problems, which you guys kind of have to solve, opportunities, which are good if you succeed at them and bad if you fail, and then advancements, which are things you can only really succeed at. And sorry, I want to say that they're things that you can only succeed at, but the last one you guys, like, massively failed. So you, like, failed but succeeded. So in general, we had people attend galas in Sharn and meet up with nobles and basically just kind of, like, hobnob and earn some favors among the Braylon nobility. We had people heal small outbreaks of blood lung, which is kind of like a very virulent strain of influenza that can happen in terrible conditions like the tent cities. We had people doing honestly getting the curse fixed so that their bones stopped radiantly glowing from inside their bodies. Lumio, I believe, I think it was Lumio, palled around with an Inquisitive for a while, and tried to figure out if there was some sort of violent creature in town, and they weren't able to find anything. They were, they weren't able to find anything, but he gave Lumio a silver knife, and was like, if it comes back, here you go. They found that some people were missing, 6 adults and 1 child, and they found 4 of the bodies of those 7 people that looked to have been sort of torn apart and drained of their fluids. Quintus helped with a problem with some bastard tricksy failings, with those Fae being ones who had either turned key items for a person's profession into gold, or they had just started killing a bunch of livestock, because red cap's gonna red cap. We had, I believe it was Lumio, help to plan an aqueduct. So if we sort of zoom in here, what we have is, like, the mine, the quarry where a lot of the stone for the town is coming from, is like right here, like right at the sort of base of the mountains. And this is also where that spring is. And so they were planning an aqueduct since it's an endless spring of like cool extraplanar mountain water. They're planning an aqueduct to carry it down to the town. And Lumio and I believe Sheriff Essex went and helped out with that. We had some people investigate some caravans that weren't arriving, and they found one of Erleman the Azure's camps, and they didn't find anyone there. They just sort of found the camp and recovered some stolen goods. And then Delian made a delivery from Newseer to Kinran at top speed. So at top speed, it only took him about a day and a half, bordering on 2 days, which is pretty impressive. And it just shows like how fast and how far that horse can run. In exchange for doing this, he was given the horse. And after that, Orgev came to the group and said, hey, legally, according to the treaty that I have with King Borinel of Roet, I am not allowed to build a standing army or a militia, but I am allowed to have a royal guard contingent, so I'm going to have a large one. I need you all to, or whoever can, to help me test these royal guards and see what's up. And so Lumio helped and started putting them through the sort of brutal test that you would give to a bunch of Warforged. Sharut helped by putting them through the sort of brutal test that you would give to a bunch of goblins and hobgoblins. This succeeded in weeding out the weak, but it was probably a bit brutal. So this was one where basically the group succeeded, but they also rolled a 1. So they succeeded with like a 2nd degree disaster on our way of doing this. So it was like, yeah, you did it, but also you owe a lot of debts to the army now. And yeah, that and then after that, we had to roll to see if the curse of the golden bones was finally gone from all the party members, and it wasn't. It was very hard to pull all the gold off of Quintus's bones. It was weird. It's like he's meant to be this radiant.
To be fair,
We did get it in the end.
And
he
then
did give up his slot at one point.
Yes.
Heroically sacrificed his option to remove the curse.
Yeah.
To give it to someone else.
Yeah, he totally
You
did.
gave it to Dandrin.
And then he
Which is why Dandrin
No, he
spent
did
money
it.
out of his own pocket.
He gave it to Frisida.
Yep.
Yeah, because I think it was Shrewd was like, I picked Quintus, and Quintus was like, Quintus won't let you do it if Frisida is still suffering, so he picks Frisida. And then you guys rolled again, and he failed, and then you guys rolled again, and he finally succeeded. And so Quintus is finally de-gilded, but just at the edges of his vision, he's just like everything has a slight gold tinge to it. Yeah, so that was the sort of like city building that happened. You guys, solved some mysteries, helped out some inquisitives, built and planned some things, some units and some like new features for the town and that sort of stuff. And so now we are starting, I believe, we ended on Larvian the 13th. This is when Quintus has been de-goldified. So assuming that he's probably going to take a couple of days to finally sleep in an undrugged state.
Mm-hmm. Four to be exact.
What did you say?
4 days to be exact.
4 days. So we're going to move this to the 17th.
Sweet.
So it's Larvian the 17th. Before we get started, does anybody have anything they need to do in particular? Anything that they wanted to follow up on from like their various duties, or anything they want to do before they like kind of get together as a group?
Yes.
Dandrin was going with Uswin to provide the master-crafted gold-leafed mithril moustache he had made for Cogsworth. With Uswin. We were going to run that scene.
Cogsworth his fantastic
A kingly
moustache.
gift.
Yes, you are putting like, hey Cogsworth, here's 1,500 gold you could just shove on your face. Um, but yeah, I'm down for that. Hold on one second. I will. Let me grab a Cogsworth and a Dandarin, and I can throw an Uswin in here. If I can find Uswin. There's Uswin, and I will activate scene. So yeah, the you and Uswin can go to the manor as soon as it's done and it's up to the specifications that the two of you have. And yeah, she'll reach out and sort of pull the lever that gets the bell inside ringing, and by the time the clapper inside the various bells have stopped shaking, Cogsworth is already at the door and greeting the two of you. And he goes, "Ah, Masters and Mistress Sornath, to what do I owe the pleasure?"
Oh, well, Cogsworth, we're actually here to see you today. I promised you something, and it's finally ready. Oh, would you like us to come in and we can present it for you?
Yes, please, of course.
Yes.
Please, yes, follow me. And he will lead the two of you into the sitting room, and sort of by habit, he walks over to the cabinet and he'll unlock it, and he says, "Would either of you care for any libations? Whiskey, wine?"
A spot of tea would be lovely if you would.
Tea, of course. Just one moment. And like as he starts to leave, Uswin will put a hand on him and say, "Cogsworth, we brought you something, so I think it would be weird if we asked you to leave the room and go make us tea so that we could give it to you. We'll just take water for now." And he goes, yes, of course, water then." And he'll just fill a couple of small glasses with water, and he hands one to you and hands one to Uswin, and he fills one for himself and just stands there sort of holding it. And he goes, "Well, I must say that I am somewhat excited to get properly crafted Sornath metalwork. Armor and weaponry have never really been my forte, so
Yes.
I must admit,
this is the finest crafted proboscis I've ever made.
a proboscis. I suppose that does... It being a proboscis does make some sense, yes. And which of the two of you would be carrying it? Would it be like Dandarin carrying it, or would it be Uswin?
So Dandarin's the one who made it. He wouldn't mind carrying it, but he would ask Uswin, because she's spent more time with Cogsworth at this point, like, would you like to be the one to present it, or would you like I to present it?
And she goes, "Oh, well, I would prefer if I was the one presenting it. Yeah."
Then by all means, I'll give the details, but you are free to present it for him.
Okay. And
So yeah,
she'll
Dandarin will
she'll
just
sort
kind
of pull a chair out for him and have him sit down. And she goes, I think it would be better if we were to show it to you in the full glory. So if you want to close your eyes, we'll put it on your face and you can see it."
Dandarin will pick up, like, if there's a mirror on the. I assume in the sitting room there would be like a mirror.
Yeah, there would be like a small one, since
Yeah,
this
like
is a place where people go before they meet Orgev. So like if they need to tidy up, there'd be like a mirror in the corner.
So while she's getting it set up, Dandarin will just get a small mirror ready and have it ready to present Cogsworth with his accoutrement.
Sure. So yeah, she has him sit down, and she starts like just playing at it with his face and like trying to make the various little bits of it stick into where he has sort of made in the wood of his face and in the small metal plates of his face like divots where things can attach. And so she's like playing with those to make it fit right in one of the spots. And he will sort of sit upright and allow for this to happen. And then when you come over with the mirror, and she goes, "All right, well, there you go. It's attached. Open the eyes and see what you think." And he'll open up, and you have crafted him this like just fine, sort of like handlebar mustache that just sticks off a little bit. It's mithril with gold filigree and detailing. It is a sort of that kind of like ridiculously exquisite thing that you would see somebody put on like a dwarven king's helmet. And it's like, in terms of monetary value, probably worth more than he's like wearing otherwise. He's not somebody who's dressing himself in like the finest magical armors and clothings. So he's just this like warforged with this exquisite mithril mustache.
Yeah, so it's because I was scrolling back through it and I got like a 37 to craft it because it was the last thing I crafted.
Yeah.
So a 37. So it is a mithril base and it's got all the fine weaved hairs and it is gold leafed. So he, has taken Siren gold and I've taken it to it with the wire brush and put it on there, transferring the gold on top of the mithril. The mithril itself is not from Seer, but it is still finest quality mithril from the Decani Empire, actually. The gold was Siren coins that I smelted down to use as the base. And then he'll just go into all the detail work and stuff and just kind of like walking through the process and why he made certain decisions based on when he took the block originally, like a month or so ago or whatever, when we last saw him. He'll just tell yes, and it's flickered this way so that when it contours on your face, it imitates perfectly the hooking features of a well-oiled and groomed handlebar mustache, such as this.
Wait, are you saying that it's hinged?
It's hooked, not hinged.
Okay. I thought you were
a
saying
hinged mustache would be weird.
I thought you were saying it's hinged, it's like, as you talk, it moves. And it's like, what the fuck kind of nightmare fuel is that?
Now, here's the thing, John Eric. I absolutely could have done that. I think I did.
It's actually...
Now we'll move to simulate a real proboscis as he speaks.
Sure. I don't know why we're still calling it a proboscis, but sure.
Well, here's the thing. I view him as a person, therefore this is now his mustache.
Yes, he seems, he's sort of mild-mannered, but he does seem to be very happy with it. He's just very, well, this is quite something. I don't have anything quite this night. Eric, do you want to control your mic?
Sorry, no. So my son is in another room in the hallway, and my door is closed, and he's making that noise. I apologize.
And he says, I don't have anything quite this. This is incredible. Thank you both. I am in your debt.
Oh, nonsense. For all that you've done for the new seer and for Prince Orgev, this is a fitting gift. You are an advisor to a king, and by the gods, you should look the part.
And Uswin will nod as you're saying this, and she goes, yeah, Cogsworth, we would never... We're not doing this to get some sort of measure of power or debt over you. You're a friend. You don't take debts from friends. I mean, okay, so you take debts from friends, but not in this case.
This is a gift. This is not a commission.
Yeah.
It is an important distinction.
I think that's probably the best way to put it. This one's a gift.
If you want other pieces, we'll have to talk about that in the future.
And she'll nod and she says, careful though. You see Dander, and unless you want your neck straining, he'd be making you one of those, but out of iron. And he goes, Master Sornath, you look quite dapper, but I don't think I want that level of proboscis.
Of course, we wouldn't want you showing up, Prince Orgev. I mean, they're here to meet a king, and then they see such a majestic specimen as yourself with something, and he motions to his own beard with something like this, in glorious, resplendent, silver smelted iron. Like, of course.
He actually seems a little taken aback, and he goes, "You don't think at this moment that my propensity for this sort of fashion accessory is taking away from any gravitas the prince may be?"
Oh, no. That's why, though it is of the finest craftsmanship, I have made sure that it is subtle. I didn't make an overwhelming specimen. This one, that's why it contours such as this and go, The materials are kingly, but that is to, of course, be expected, especially with the other gift that was given when we first came. Has what was the tailor's name?
Uh,
Wrighton?
Clarice Wrighton.
Has Mr. Wrighton uh, presented the king with his new clothing by any chance?
He is waiting on a delivery of silk from Talenta. His
Ah.
time with the halflings have taught him that in terms of silk, and apparently only silk, but in terms of silk, they are the masters of that particular cloth. And he says that he can do much with the fur, but, well, it would be wasted if it weren't put with the appropriate baseline materials.
No, no, of course. Silk instead of allure. Huh? No, I trust the man. He is by far the expert in that field.
uh, Cogsworth will actually shrug to you and he says, fashion, he's like, current Siren fashion has no rules. And many of the rules that we have been following have been, for quite some time, introduced by Master Adradar and then perfected by Master Wrighton. So we are somewhat counting on Master Wrighton to set our boat back adrift. At the moment, we are moored on a shore where everything and everyone is just drab gray or a mourner's black. And there's a kind of a small ringing that comes from like the door over here, and you look up and there's like a quartet of bells, and the one on the right is ringing, and he goes, well, I must get back to my duties. I do want to thank you both again for this gift. It is truly something wonderful. But I do have work that I need to be doing. Can I see you both to the door, please?
Oh, yes. Thank you for your hospitality and enjoy.
And
I'd love to hear what the prince has to say about it.
Honestly, it would be good just to see if he has the opportunity to look up and notice it with all he's been doing the last few days. And he'll walk you to the door, and as he's doing it, you see another servant. This one a human male, dressed much like in a similar sort of like butlery type of uniform as Cogsworth usually dresses, is at the front door and is letting in sort of the like just this kind of incredibly scummy looking half orc. The half orc is just this kind of burly dude whose skin has more of like a dark gray tone than it really has that green that half orcs typically have. He has what looked like they were two big tusks, but is now one big tusk and one broken tusk. Kind of long, greasy hair that hangs down from under a bandana that's just tied around his head. He's got another bandana tied around his knee and one on the opposite boot. So like he just kind of like looks off. He is bathed in like, look at how asymmetrical I look. And Cogsworth nods to the man, and you see the butler lead him off into the sitting room. And Cogsworth says to the butler, I'll be there in just a moment. Please offer him anything in the cabinet. It is still unlocked. And he looks to the two of you and says, well, I do want to thank you both again. Please, if you need anything, return when you can. And I, in fact, believe that His Majesty was going to be sending for you in later this afternoon. I will check with him again, and if so, I will send the messenger right away.
Of course. Always happy to assist the prince.
Good. Well then. And so he will let you, the two of you out, and then we will jump to who else wanted to do something?
I definitely
did
do.
at some point.
Okay. I'll start with Justin, and then we'll jump to Travis.
Cool. So there was a point where Orgev mentioned providing a house for folks inside New Seer.
Yeah.
And so Quintus at some point arrives to present his request.
Sure. You will you'll be met at the door, not by Cogsworth, but by a human man dressed as a butler, much like Cogsworth dress. The same guy who let in the half orc in the previous scene, and he'll say, Master Adradar, yes, hello. What can I do for you today?
Yes, I've arrived on some business. The prince had offered so kindly to uh, work with us to construct housing inside the city, and well, I've drawn up plans. I'm sure that they'll need a bit of going over, but nevertheless, it was something that I wanted to deliver and just touch on briefly.
Ah, you have chosen where your dwelling will be.
Yes, quite.
Ah, yes. And so he will lead you into one of the back rooms. Not the back room that you went into before, where like everybody's meeting with the prince. Because back there you can hear that there's some sort of argument going on.
Right.
And by argument, you can hear a very quiet reply to someone who's sort of shouting. And then a very quiet reply again to someone who's shouting. And the butler looks at you and goes, "Apologies, sir. We are very busy and tensions run high at the moment. Lots of changes coming around."
No, of course.
And he leads you to the back and basically shows you a map of the city as it is at the moment. It looks much like this exact map.
How strange.
And he goes, well, what were you thinking as far as the location that you would like for your dwelling? I will note that if you plan to grow crops upon the dwelling, some land can be set aside for that as well. Otherwise, it would just be a house.
Well, I hadn't thought to add farmland to it, but
If you're not a farmer, then I wouldn't worry about it. It's not an easy life for one accustomed to the court.
well, let me show you what my plans look like, and we can go from there. And Quintus will pull out his frameworks and provide them to a shockingly large structure.
And so, like, in terms of how big?
Let's see here. What is a good equivalent? Yeah, so like a little bit larger than the House Beneath Enclave.
Okay. The House Beneath Enclave, which is, at the moment, the biggest enclave in town.
Yeah.
Okay. And he'll say, sir, I do believe that this is beyond the bounds of the prize that Prince Orgev has granted to you.
That's quite possible, but we can adjust the size as needed, but you'll need to let me know if the orphanage can support all of the children left without families, or if we need more space.
This is not an orphanage. We are offering you a dwelling.
I have no need. If I can't use
And
that,
where are you currently staying?
I'll find a place. I'm sure that there are beds aplenty currently, and a small amount of coin will make that work. And if not, well,
There
I've
are
roughed it
not
before.
beds aplenty. Hence this offer. I understand what you're trying to do, and frankly, I commend it. However, to properly take care of others, you must see to your own needs first. To give away your last slice of bread when you're starving is ludicrous. Noble, perhaps, but is something that can only be done once before one starves to death.
I am certain that I'll be able to obtain residence in a roadhouse or something similar. This largesse is wasted on me, and there are others who would benefit from it more.
And are you planning on running this orphanage, given your duties? And he talks like he's somebody that kind of knows what you're doing. Kinda.
Well, if nothing else, my thought was that I certainly am liable to come into contact with sources of funding, potential funding from other noble houses, as well as those who might be skilled enough to raise and manage children who have suffered, as those from Seer have. While my skill sets may be a little outside the realm of what we'll be interested in teaching most children, I think that exposure could help in sourcing individuals to bring it up to speed.
You have to know that there is some and he pauses, and it looks like he's like looking at what you've sort of outlined, and he feels, or not that he feels, he looks like he's really struggling to find the words here. Give me a sense motive check.
Absolutely. Actually, I think I can do that from here.
You're getting that it's not necessarily, how can I put it? There's a lot of personal bias in what he's saying right now. Like, this isn't just that he's necessarily doing his job. There's a lot of personal bias in what he's saying.
If you have, let me be clear. The intention here, I think, as you've identified, is one that is built to serve the people of Seer, specifically those who so rarely have the ability to serve themselves. If you have suggestions, I'm not so overbearing as to be unwilling to listen to others or hear what they might say, but certainly a dwelling for myself is much wasted. The opportunity to give the disadvantaged a chance when so much of their homeland has crumbled, to build and rebuild the culture that we had in children who may never see again their homeland. That's critical. It's important.
And as you say this, like, his lip kind of like goes up again in a little sneer, and he just kind of like shakes his head a little bit as he's like looking down at the papers. And can you you made an all right argument. Can you give me a diplomacy check?
For sure. Ooh.
Oof.
Oof.
And he takes the papers and he sort of like folds them up and he hands them back to you, and he goes, "Your request is denied, sir. I think that a man in your station, of your talents, and of your profession, doing what you do, to want to be associated with an orphanage, raising lost children, as you're saying, a spy raising lost children, is abhorrent. I will not be presenting these plans to Cogsworth. I will not be presenting these plans to His Majesty, but I will be presenting my recommendation that they do not follow this particular plan that you have put forth. It is wrong of you to suggest such a thing."
Well, that's a compelling argument, I'm sure. One that certainly sees to the needs of those needy and requiring.
Do not twist my
help.
words. I will not stand for it. You are someone who has sworn a binding oath to this country,
To the country.
and someone who
To its
does
people.
things that are not necessarily the seer that we would all like to be. And you would like to create a house where you can take part in the raising of children.
Quintus can't help himself at that point and just starts laughing. Yes, certainly. I, Quintus Adradar, have taken part in a seer that not all of you want to be. That's that is rich beyond describing. Truly a jest.
I mean,
If only you knew.
you... What the fuck was that?
What's that?
That's the screams of disappointed children is what that is.
Travis, what? I am the resident dad here, so
Yeah,
what's
like
going on, bud?
at some point, can you guys realize this is an audio medium? Like, what the fuck? I think Travis had a bunch of cats just slam into him, and then he died.
they
It's happened
Killed him.
before.
It's
Good, my assassins have
Goober and
finally
the other
met their
cat could
target.
absolutely just.
No. Why?
Why'd you train them to do that, Noah? Come on.
Good.
Anyway, back to Quintus being accused of many things.
Yeah,
Wow.
like this dude basically, from what you've put together, he thinks you're trying to put together the Red Room,
Yeah.
and
Who the
like
fuck
he's
is this guy? Do I know this guy?
no.
Oh, all right, that's fine. Interesting. That's cool. I'll ask about him later. But Quintus is just like, that's hilarious. Yeah, I've definitely not influenced Seer at all. You bet. You definitely have a good grasp of the situation.
Yeah, I mean, you failed some checks.
Yeah, no, that's fair. The failing of the checks is fine. Yeah. And so like both of them are grump at each other, and that's probably where that
Yeah. He's saying, like, I won't let you raise kids in an orphanage. You're a fucking spy. And you're like, oh, you want them all to starve and die in the cold, eaten by roaches. Searing roaches. How dare you, sir? And he's like, I didn't say fucking any of that.
Not even Brellish roaches, not even Syrian roaches. They're not even good, clean Syrian roaches.
Not even good, wholesome searing roaches. Bit of wine, add some salt. Yes, he, this guy that you have never met before just rejects the proposal.
Absolutely. That is going to spur some workarounds here.
Okay.
And Quintus is gonna go talk to, trying to arrange a meeting with Orgev's sister, the spy master.
Oh, with Hasdal?
Yeah.
I imagine that any meeting with Hasdal is something that does not take place at the manor. Like,
Yeah.
you put symbols in various parts of the city, and then you go to a place, and she is like at the booth behind you, and the two of you are just sort of like quietly communicating in code or something like that. Like, Hasdal sort of almost doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Also, it's his cousin, not his sister.
Cousin. Yes, that's correct.
But yeah, if you want to, like, go put a candle in the window of one house and like make sure that there's a blue tulip next to the grand well, or a red shoe on the doorstep of like house 14 next to the Kundarak counting, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Then yeah, you can meet her sort of outside in Clawtown, just across the street from like an orcish steamer who sells some, like, I don't know, whatever the orc equivalent of Xiaolongbao is.
Yeah, and so
I have to imagine that an orcish Xiaolongbao is just like fucking meaty. Like, that just sounds delicious.
it really does.
What's it made of? Oh, well, we put all the meat in it, and then there's a meat sauce to dip it in. Oh god, that sounds really good.
It's obviously like thoroughly basted in a rich gravy on the interior. But there's also a dipping.
After it steams, there's like a little like flambe part to it too. Just give it a nice like shell on the outside.
Oh yeah, all that cholesterol.
Oh,
Yeah,
Lord.
sourced out to the halflings for an additional sauce.
No, I need to figure out how the fuck you make this, because it sounds amazing.
So yeah, you're sort of in the tables that surround this this place up here, and after a while, you will see Hasdal arrive. Hasdal, to look at her, if she was dressed for it and wanted to be, is sort of the upper end of average. But when she's not dressed for it, when she's not wearing all of the makeup caked on her, when she has like the appropriate clothing, she just blends. She looks like nobody. The woman can like turn a corner, and then you can turn that same corner, and you can't really see her, even though she's just there. It's to Quintus, who is fairly skilled in glamour. There's something that might like hint to you that Hasdal is similarly skilled in glamour, but like, she's made no overt casting or anything like that you've ever seen. She just seems to be a very, very good spy master. And so, yeah, she will sort of sit at the booth sort of behind you and to the right. And she doesn't immediately start to speak. You see her like order the same sort of thing that you ordered, and she takes a few like large bites, because you might not actually get to finish the whole meal when you're done doing spy things, so you should get what you can.
Yeah.
And then after she's had her bites and she's kind of had about a quarter of her cup, she says, the message said that you had some questions.
Concerns, getting my
Let's
pudding,
start with
as it were.
concerns first.
It sounds like there's a lot of new faces and heavy words happening in important places here recently. That
Yes.
didn't sound like friendly conversations.
The one that you likely heard about an hour ago was not a friendly conversation. I don't think any conversation with Ivar is ever a friendly conversation.
Well, it does lead me to wonder if there's a need to set up circumstances.
I'm considering it, but at the moment he's not untouchable, but it looks like the touch would be costly.
Fair enough.
Instead, I'm hoping that he sees reason, and if he won't do that, I'm hoping he names an affordable price.
Well, if things don't go the way that we need them to, that's what I'm here for. Sworn to service and all that. So, but that was ancillary to some of the other new faces that I ran into, who seem much less friendly and much more obstructive.
Ah, you met the new castellan.
Mm-hmm. What's his name?
Ah, he's Eric's. Eric's Lanimer.
Is he a convenient appointment? One,
No, he is a heavily skilled one.
Hmm.
He is too close to the king. Or, sorry, he is too close to the prince for him to just be a convenient appointment. And he also, as of time of my looking into his background, had nothing to indicate loyalty, monetary or otherwise, enforced, coerced, etc., to anyone. No one, no house, no family, no clan. Skilled reputations of working with others, but nothing to say, he's some secret marked heir or something like that.
Certainly he has a history.
Oh, he does have a history, yes. He has seen a great many families through a great number of trying times. It is something of his specialty. Eric's...
Is that the source of his obstruction, or is it his distaste for the profession?
If you're speaking to the conversation that you had, I only was able to overhear part of it, but I heard that it was something about you wanting to fund a charitable endeavor using the prince's favor and him turning it down.
The specifics appear to have been taken as the implication that I would be setting up, that I would be unfit to help find educators and assistants for the wayward children of Seer, simply due to profession, of all things, which is interesting and concerning. And you're certainly closer to the prince than the new Castellan, but even so, having that level of obstruction so high, should something occur, should there be a need, it doesn't sit well. It's not a good situation.
And she takes a sip from her cup, and she says, Quintus, you don't know everything I do, but I assume you have some ideas as to the various things I get caught up in.
Mm-hmm.
Would you want me having any part of an orphanage? The raising, the funding? Do you think it would help the prince if I were to set up an orphanage, even anonymously, and my position came out? People found out what I do and connected me to it.
Your point is a valid one, but it needs to be done.
An orphanage, yes. An orphanage from you, for you, based on your favor? Likely not. And she'll take another sip and then kind of like toss her hand to spill out the rest on the cobbles, and pushes the glass away from her. And she says, besides that, Raren has already convinced His Majesty that one needs to be done. You weren't privy to such. I'm fairly certain that Eric's was, and he decided not to share it with you. But, well, for those that work in secrets, he doesn't know how much you can be trusted. And while his loyalty seems to be to his coin, it also seems to be to those that his coin comes from. So until he gets a better read on you, I imagine that he will be a lot more circumspect than Cogsworth was, which is part of why we needed him.
If you believe there's value, my initial read was not, aside from setting aside personal concerns, or even those of the larger good, my initial read of him was not of an individual who's liable to make the best choices. But I'm sure that he's been vetted in other fashions.
Just because someone doesn't like you, Quintus, doesn't mean that they're flawed.
Quintus is gonna grin at that, and he's like, "It's pretty good standard, though."
Not necessarily. There are many, many biases. If I did not believe that Eric's needed to be there, he wouldn't. And if the matter was forced, he might have disappeared. He is in the position he's in because he is trusted. Just because your first interaction with him was him showing you the door, doesn't mean that every decision he has ever made or ever will make will be questioned or questionable.
I suppose that's valid,
Further,
regardless.
Further, as a diplomat, you may be required to call on people, or have them call on you. You will need a residence.
Galls me to suggest that I have 4 sturdy walls and a fine bed to sleep on, when so many others don't. See them grub in the mud and the dirt, with poorly arranged tents and no facilities to speak of, and
No one said that you had to be the only one who lived there. If you want a house with multiple rooms, which you can then fill with bunks, and she'll just kind of like sigh, she says, then pick that. I'm not saying that you should set up some sort of hostel, but if all you're worried about is getting people out or in from out, that's what you'd be doing. And you would still need a residence in case you need to be a proper diplomat. Not everything that we have for you will be just leaving town again, even though, based on what I'm hearing, that's likely what we'll have you do today.
no, it's not as though I had much in the way of permanent residence previously with my more long-standing positions. So this is new and uncomfortable, but you're not necessarily incorrect on any of these points.
If you feel very strongly about it, then you can tell His Majesty that he should award someone else of note within 3 tents the residence. But I would advise that you not. If nothing else, you'll have a place that you can use as a bit of cover. And she sort of like reaches into a pocket, and you see her pick up a timepiece, and she says, you hear her go, 2, 1, duck. And then over here, a fight starts. And there's like something that just goes sailing over the heads of the two of you. And there's just a brawl over here. And like tables are flying. There's just people punching other people. It's a bunch of like burly sort of hunter-gatherer type dudes who are, kind of wearing the furs, the rangers that go out to the wilds. A bunch of orcs and shifters, since you're in Clawtown. Like, that's who lives here. And by the time your head is up from having ducked, she's just gone.
Yeah, this is the perfect chance to make a getaway conveniently, and so Quintus will do the same.
All right. And Travis.
Yes.
Travis.
It is I, the one of Travis.
It is you. So, what did Dillian want to do?
I don't know if it's still prevalent since a lot of time has passed, but when Dillian checked in with Malkin goes, I have a letter for you to deliver. And then Dillian went, sure will, and then months passed.
So
do we want to hand wave that?
I'm assuming that you did it at some point during that. Like,
okay, I wanted to make sure.
So basically, at some point, Dillian, probably after he got back from Kinrun, took his very, very fast horse and sort of rode it the other way out of town down to Sterngate. So you went from here down to here and like put the letter into someone's hand, and they get on a lightning rail and this sort of stuff happens. Like, you're basically, he's making you deliver the whole, like, your own, like, this person is worthwhile and should be allowed into the house thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I gathered, so I wanted to make sure I'd clarified that, so that wasn't a hang up for me. But we can easily just go, and that's what happened.
Yeah, so he doesn't, the delivering the letter wasn't the big deal. You were currently in the midst of like waiting for a reply for it.
Okay, cool. Then I'm totally A-okay. I have nothing else.
Sounds good. Lumio, did you have anything you wanted to do?
The only thing that I really wanted to do was get to talking with Stalwart and see what he's got for accommodations. Because I don't need really a lot, but I would like an office and a place to park the wagon. If that doesn't already have an appropriation. And so if Stalwart's got a place, I can just add on to that. But
yeah, so there's actually if you look at map, this is Stalwart's house.
Oh,
It looks to be quite big, but also sort of shoddily put together.
yes.
It's basically made out of like the wood that was left. And then the wood that was left was then further encased in like sort of mud. So it's just kind of like this gigantic like mud and brick based wood topped kind of house that clearly isn't doing much but keeping the wind and the rain out. It looks like something that he probably built.
Perfect.
Given the sheer size of it. And when you go inside, there's basically like a sitting room with 2 oversized chairs, and then there is a fully, like weirdly fully stocked like larder. And then there's pretty much just a long hallway that has some things in it. Like there's like a plow in there. You see that there's a cart that's kind of a what do you call the pull cart thing? Like not a wheelbarrow,
rickshaw.
A rickshaw. There's like a rickshaw in there with a harness attached that looks like it. The harness isn't actually made for like an ox or something. It looks like it might be made for a person. But yeah, so like if you ask around, you will learn that over the course of the last month or so, while you guys have been gone, Stalwart has been doing this when he wasn't doing the road.
That makes sense. And I find that this is really homey. Like this is exactly what I expected Stalwart to have made for himself.
Yeah.
If there was like everyone had died all of a sudden of a plague, and Stalwart was like, I kind of want a place to sit down. Here we go.
Yeah.
And then he built the rest of the road and the rest of the town, and then people started moving in because there were empty houses. Like that's what I imagine would happen with Stalwart if like lots of time had suddenly passed. So I would speak with Stalwart. I know that he doesn't speak back because he's had his mouth parts damaged beyond repair. And just kind of see what he feels about renovating the place a little bit so that it doesn't like there's sunlight coming through. Maybe we could have windows instead. And like there's just hay on the floor to let the floor dry out faster so it doesn't make puddles. We could put something down that would actually drain properly. And then maybe an area where I could potentially store books that was like professionally built nearby or attached. And just some simple edits like that.
He seems more than willing to sort of like let you not necessarily move in, since you're saying that you can like build some stuff on the other side, but to move in. It seems like the one thing that he's not really willing to budge on is the fact that both the larder has to remain full and stocked, and that all of his stuff has to stay inside.
Oh, absolutely.
All of his many tools that he uses to like plow fields and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you wanted to use the dwelling you were given to like get this sort of like built up and build like another couple of rooms on the other side, that'd be totally fine, and he's cool with that.
Yeah, that's what I endeavor to have Orgib do.
Yeah, and he will also hold on. I'm gonna roll it. He will also cook what smells like a stupendous meal while the two of you are talking, and it's very awkward because he's close to 8 feet tall, and he's about 6 feet wide, and each of his hands is the size of your chest, and he has these like gigantic 3-fingered hands that are holding these tiny spoons as they stir, and he's using this like massive hand to grip this tiny knife and like fillet fish very carefully. And he will cook this incredible meal, and he offers you a plate.
I accept it.
Cool. And then he will, like, you see him using his gigantic mitts to like take little chunks of the food, and he puts them in his mouth, and he will very thoughtfully chew all the food, and then spit it out into a bucket that's next to him.
Yeah, that's the stalwart I know.
I'm unnecessarily imagining that his like spice stuff is like way too small. Like it's goblin or gnome size compared to the human size utensils he's using.
Well, yeah, because I mean, if you're gonna buy spices in town, who do you go to? You probably go to like the House Galanda house because they're the ones that are the house of hospitality. They're the ones that have all the food stuff. So yeah, but he would love to share a meal with you. He also still can't swallow food. No Warforged can. So you guys can just taste all of this delicious food and then just hork it into a bucket next to you. Starchbone says, I am unnecessarily tilted at the effort to cook only to chew and spit. He can't swallow food. He's a robot.
Yeah.
He can only taste.
I will also taste the food.
Yeah, it's delicious.
And yeah, the man is a amazing cook. I silently...
Do you get up and spit in his bucket?
Oh, no.
I'm
it's
sure...
only proper to spit in your own bucket.
I'm sure he'll give you your own bucket, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, it's all... Warforgeds know manners, man. It's almost like we were programmed in. But anyway, I am going to make a note to talk to Dandarin about making some utensils that are very large in the hand, but very small and delicate on the end of it.
they're like reverse shovels.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure that's how they do it for people who have very poor hand strength, but it also allows you to exert a great deal of dexterity when your hands are massive.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool. So I imagine at some point you will like tell Cogsworth or Eric's Latimer that you want to spend yours fixing up this house and adding a couple of rooms to it.
Yeah. Would it be too much to ask for a space for a few additional rooms to be furnished later by additional Warforged who may come later, such as Slapper?
So, since you want them to refurbish the one that you have, like I was thinking that you guys would probably get like 4 or 5 room houses. So if you add on like 2 rooms and you get the one that you have, you get the rest of the house sort of, remodeled so that it's not terrible. That would be about all that favor's worth.
Okay.
So
that's fine. I was just inquiring further. I may hire some craftsmen later to assist with that.
That's fine. I'm fairly certain there's rules for that in the Game Mastery Guide of like, here's what it costs to build a house. So, yeah. All right. And Sharut, I believe everybody is gone but you. Did you have anything that you wanted to do before you guys like start working for Orgev?
I don't really need to talk to anybody at this moment in time, but I would like to make a note of a purchase.
Sure. What are you purchasing?
I'm going to purchase, let's do 10 more bolt vials, and I will use a non-Kunderact garnet to purchase 5 of them.
Okay, sounds good. Did you wanna grab that Masterwork Mithril Chain shirt? Because Usman's always willing to let you make that deal.
Oh, I already grabbed it.
Do you want to grab anything else?
No, Usman.
We're already here to make a deal.
No need. Just bolt files.
All right. Well,
come on, Shrewd. We know you're good for it.
Shrewd, you let me know if something changes your mind.
Just vials.
I'm
rest of the money for
anytime, day or night. I'm willing to go to the counting house with you, Shrewd.
just
You're a dear friend of the family now.
Sharut gets mad and leaves, and she's like, I thought he wanted those bolt vials, though.
I'll make sure he gets to them. I'll make sure he pays.
The 2 dwarves just lock eyes, do that single nod, and go back to work.
Just a mumble. Gobbles.
All right. Oh, Sharut. When I was listening to the last episode, there was a check that you wanted to make when you were finding all of the missing citizens. Did you want to make that now? The ones who were like,
Oh, you're referring to the ones where the wounds.
yeah,
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I'd like to make that check now. Let me just
sure,
I want to adjust my sheet for those bolt vials before I forget.
yeah, cool. When you go to make the check, can you give me a heal check, please?
Yes, I can.
Also, I want to let you guys know that like there's a new toy line that's coming out, new action figure line called Cosmic Legions, and they look dope. It's like what if we did a sci-fi line of like people in space, but everything was just like crazy alien races.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
I'm real excited,
I-
and it's gonna cost
that
me
cut
a
out.
lot of money.
Got a 2.
What was that description?
It's like let's do a sci-fi line, like you know, creatures in space are you know, things in space, but let's not have any like people. Everything is like a different kind of alien.
Hold on, what's the name of this again?
Cosmic Legions.
Cosmic.
I got a
Shit.
I'm real
2
excited.
on that heal check.
Nice.
Or a total of 18.
So what I'll tell you with that is, it definitely looks like the bodies that you found at the various wells were bled out, and with your 18, you do remember wounds like this from about 3 months back. You remember there being like people in Clawtown that were like this. You remember that similar thing happened to Ryteal. And there was also, I believe, when you spoke to Alder about it, because Sharut went in there like straight up like, one of your people's killing everybody, and Alder's like, I got 2 people on the table in here. Alder, I believe, told you that she knew that somebody in the trade district was similarly attacked. So it looks like this has been going on for a while.
And it's happening all across town.
Yeah, it's not happening frequently, but it is happening. The ones that you were able to find, like I told you before, you were able to find ones that were in wells, because the wells are kind of set up so that like the bucket can go down, or come back up. Well, there's a pump on each well, but there's also like a bucket that can go down and then come back up. But there's the way the wells are set up is that interspersed at different levels are kind of like wooden slats. So if you look right here, I will sort of draw out what I mean by this. Like if you have the well, you would go down like 20 feet, and then there's like a thing right there. There's just like a piece of wood that goes across it. And you go down another 20 feet, and there's one right there. And you go down 20 feet, and there's one right there. And you go down 20 feet, and there's one right there. So, like, the bucket can still go down in the middle, but it makes it kind of hard for somebody to, like, fall all the way in. Because if somebody's falling in, there's a good chance that they're going to land on one of the things or catch themselves or something like that. Yeah, basically, the bodies that you found were in some of the various wells around town, and they were all, like, you know, sort of... on those wooden slats.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. From the injuries I've seen, or is there a library in town that I could perhaps look at maybe a medical textbook?
So in terms of libraries, the biggest library in town is Prince Orkev's. However, there is the House Tarasco Clinic right there.
I think I'll go to the clinic then.
Okay.
Because I've been to Orgev's library, and it's
It's a bunch of textbooks that were brought from the Mournland, and they're all weird, and they hurt my head.
let's just say it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and head over to
Yeah, sure.
the clinic.
Yeah. So when you head to the clinic, the nurse who is or sorry, not the nurse, but the like secretary, the person at the front desk, is a human, not a halfling, and looks down at you and says, "Oh, you're Sharut, was it? You helped us out with that blood lung thing. That whole mess a few months back."
Yes. Much work. Appreciate yours.
And the secretary will kind of lean close and say, I know that he never told you, but we actually heard privately from the heir that he was very pleased with your work. So I'm telling you because I know that he never did. Anyone that impresses him is well skilled.
Should've appreciate information. Always nice to be appreciated.
Yes. Well then, what did you need?
Should've see strange maulings, attacks lately happen throughout city. Hoping you can help me identify what make.
Can you describe them?
And he'll give a quick description. Well, not a quick description, but he'll kind of relay like
Yeah,
the state he found Rytiel in and the bodies in.
Yeah, you're like, fang-based lacerations, mostly centered around the head and neck.
Bodies drained of their blood.
And he goes, all right. And the lacerations, you're saying they weren't needle-like. These were ripping and tearing.
Yes.
Can I make an assumption here? Because last session I recall you explaining Rytiel, and I believe you mentioned something about him being more muscular.
I said that he had a strong grip when he gripped you on the back. Because the last time you saw him when you left town, he had just gotten the shit kicked out of him. He got the shit kicked out of him, and you guys left the next day.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, and he grabs you, and he has a strong grip, and it's good to see you. And then so I did mention that he was stronger.
Is it stronger in terms of, just to clarify, is stronger in terms of just because he was weak before, or stronger than he was before he was injured?
I don't know if Sharut knows how strong he was before he was injured. I will put it at he is far stronger than Sharut.
That's fair.
I mean, because everybody is, but also
Not
everybody.
me.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Sharut's also small. Sharut is small and uses strength as a dump stat.
Still stronger.
Rytiel is small and doesn't. So he's far stronger than you, but he also seemed hale, healthy, hardy. Other words that start with H and end with Y.
All right. Okay. Then I will not add that. That is not an assumption I can make then. Yeah, he'll just again explain the lacerations, what he saw, bites, claws, and then also if there was any textbook description that might match that as well.
And the secretary will nod and say, I'll need some time to ask the doctor and the nurses, but I can ask them to look into it for you. I'm certain they'd be willing, though, if it takes them more time than if it takes away from their duties, they may try to charge you a consultation fee.
This is fine. Sharut cover fee if needed.
All right. I'll send for you once we have something, or after a day if we have nothing.
Good. Look forward to working with.
Okay. So in that case, since you wanted this, I'm going to move us forward today.
Okay.
And I'm going to roll. All right. You have a messenger show up, and the messenger says, "Are you Sharut?"
Yes, Sharut. Yes.
Hagro sent for you over at the clinic.
Excellent. Make my way now.
And as you're kind of walking past the kid goes, "Make sure not to get in that halfling's way. He seemed real mad about something."
Is he referring to Hagro?
No. Hagro's the human that you're speaking to. The halfling is the doctor there, who is not nice.
And I have experience with him just not being nice.
Yeah.
So.
Sharut, no. Come with position.
So, yeah, when you get to the clinic, the guy kind of looks up and he goes, "Hey, can we talk?"
Of course. What Sharut came here for.
Let's not talk here. Why don't we let's go say hi to the sovereigns.
Okay.
And he sort of calls behind him and he goes, "Hey Doc, I'm gonna go on break." And you just hear this halfling just start yelling a string of invectives. And he goes, "Yep, all right, bye Doc." And he just kind of leads you away and over to here.
Okay.
And he you guys go in, and he goes, well, I've found a couple things, and they don't sound good. Now note, this isn't really medical. This is more something you might want to speak with somebody here about. But did you know that we had an inquisitive in town a couple of weeks ago? And if I'm being honest here, it wasn't just an inquisitive; it was an inquisitor, one of the flames.
Would that be knowledge local?
This, since you're sort of like handling stuff for the prince, this is actually one of the things that came up, and
okay.
Sharut was not able to deal with it. That he got somebody else to deal with it. Lumio was the one that handled it.
And the flames were they're basically like gods inquisitors or something like that. They burn it with fire. Pretty much.
Kinda. The Church of the Silver Flame is a bastion of good. It is a good and decent church that is occasionally corrupted because men abuse power. So like they do stuff like the Inquisition. But like the flame itself, if you like call upon the flame, it is a force for good. Like the flame is the thing that are holding like the demons at bay. So people look at them as if they are more good than bad, but there are always inquisitors who are just shitty, because you can't be an inquisitor and not be a paranoid asshole.
Okay.
That's just kind of how it is.
Sharut will ask,
And this Inquisitor of Flame has to do with attacks?
No, it's him and this Warforged. They were walking around talking to people, asking about attacks that had happened in town, seeing if anybody had stayed since the carnival left, which, you know, we got a couple of people. Not that many, but we got a couple. But I think they might have been looking for this thing that you apparently found. And he goes, because there's only a couple of choices here, and none of them's good. That's kind of why I wanted to tell it to you here. The sovereigns aren't the flames, but, you know, still feels safer talking about something like this in here than not. And he kind of like opens, he has a small like stack of books, like textbooks basically, and he's opening them to pictures that look fairly familiar. Like you're seeing corpses that are like desiccated corpses that have been like sort of drawn, and with the same kind of like wounds that you saw a few weeks ago when you were looking. And then he opens another book and shows it, and it's kind of the same thing. And then he opens another one and shows it, and it's kind of the same thing. And he goes, here's the problem. These are all talking about wounds that different kinds of creatures can make. And it's none of them are good. So the first one, and he points to the first book that says it's like on blood and bloodletting. He goes, first one would be a Moroi, and a relatively young Moroi. We're talking one that's maybe a year or so. Doesn't really know its own hunger and know its own strength. Second one, lycanthropy, and one of the worst strains because they're really hard to catch. So if we haven't seen it by this time, it would be the sort of Lemanian lycanthropy, and most probably a bat.
refresh my memory. The manifest zone that's not far out.
Yeah.
Is Lamagna, right?
Correct.
Okay. That's great.
And the reason that matters is because like lycanthropy on Eberron is a curse, and it's a deadly, violent, dangerous curse. It's actually why the Inquisition, why people were kind of fine with it. Because I don't know if you guys have put this together, but if you have a curse that affects you when there's a full moon, and you're on a planet with 12 moons, you're basically just always affected. Like, you get bit, and it's like, within 3 days, you will become a werewolf. And so, after 3 days, you're just always in hybrid form, killing everything that you come across and infecting others. That's why lycanthropy is, like, so deadly in Eberron. Whereas the Lemanian lycanthropy is sort of, like, natural. like these people probably still change when the moon's out, but they don't necessarily like have to rage around and murder everything, or at least that's the rumor, that's the legend sort of thing.
Okay.
So what he's saying is that like if we're not seeing attacks happening all the time, and it's a lycanthrope, it's a Lamanian lycanthrope, which can be really dangerous because we won't know it's coming. And
Any other options?
and he goes, yeah, there's a type of construct, sort of a dark times kind of thing called a hemerite. They are powered by blood and bile in the same way that, you know, some wands would be powered by a magical charge. And hemerites have to take in blood that they're given. And if they're not given enough, the magic that powers them can kind of force them to do violent things.
I don't want to share this information with him, but could I do an engineering check to see if to see if it's not the hemerite?
You don't have enough information for anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah, like all three of the things that he's saying fit. It's either a very, very hungry man-sized bat beast. It's a very, very hungry undead drink beast, or it's a very, very dangerous blood-powered gear beast. All of these sort of fit.
Okay. Well, that's not good. Sharut is going to nod, process the information, and I think he's going to slide him 5 gold, and say,
Tell no one what you have found. Yes?
And he goes, hey, man, if there actually is a Lamanian lycanthrope in town and it doesn't want people to know about it, like, I don't want to be the guy that it thinks is telling people, you know? I don't want to be the guy that's like, oh, hey, that guy, that's the guy that killed the ruse. He goes, you can keep your money. I'm giving you your information in probably the quietest, safest place that I know of in town that ain't the Deneath barracks. And I looked at that, and it was just too expensive. So, you do what you want. You don't have to pay me. But I think at this point, I'm probably out. Not that I was necessarily ever in anything, but I'm definitely out now.
Sharut very much understand and appreciate.
and he basically nods at him, and I guess like leaves, because at this point, associating further would just draw more attention.
Yeah.
On the way out, can I do a perception check to see if anybody was listening in?
Sure. Give me a perception check.
Oh, I don't know that. Oh, well.
Yeah. You don't notice anything of note? Or
Okay.
wait. Let me use the Riddick one. Looks clear.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Julian leaves.
God damn it.
Delian
He
like
knows.
zips up his pants, nods to the priest. Father.
Why you gotta do that to Julian?
What? You were just
Like the lady
peeing in the
have to do that
rectory.
to the priest.
just got done peeing in a man's shoe, Father.
Honestly, all right, that's a little more on brand. I'm glad you roped it back in proper.
And with that, that's what Sharut wanted to do. He's going to avoid talking about this, and I mean, he could go to Orgev like right away, but I don't know if that would help or hurt. I feel like the person he would think would probably be best to tell at this juncture would be Quintus, because he has like a vague idea of what Quintus is kind of about.
Okay. So at that point, since it is 9 o'clock, I think we're going to take a quick break. And we will come back at 9:15.
Mhm.
So I will see everybody then, and we can have further scenes.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, and we are back.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hello.
Well, hi.
It's so good to see you. Welcome. Welcome.
So when we left off, Sharut, was there any other investigations or anything like that you wanted to do?
No, not at the moment. I think he wants to wait to share the information.
Sounds good. Well, in that case, all of you in your various places of dwelling or living, or I guess for Quintus, whatever tree and or couch he's sleeping under, you all get a message and it is it's basically it's a piece of parchment that's folded into thirds, and it looks like it has a stamp on the back of black wax, and inside the black wax is a symbol that looks to be a skull, and the inside of the skull has been painted gold.
God damn it. I hate it.
Great.
Clever.
I open it, but I hate it.
I like it. Let's see what they've got to say.
And you open it, and it says, "Your presence is requested at Prince Orgev's manor." And then there's a little dash at the bottom, and it's just dash Cogsworth.
Wow.
I hate that fucking Orgev has decided this is a thing. You're the Order of the Golden Skull now. That's a little traumatic, don't you think? Jesus.
Well, everybody else came out on top. They seemed to find it was fine.
We already had the stamp for the wax. What were we to do?
We asked Lumio, and he said that you guys would be good with it.
It must, it must have been the aura light. That's all.
Lumio.
Lumio wasn't insulted at all.
Yeah.
So you guys all get to Prince Orgev's manor, which I will open. Have you seen? There we go. Activate. Utson's not there. Get out of there. And Cogsworth will greet you and take you all to the sitting room. When you see him, he has a fantastic mustache on. And he also has something that would approximate a soul patch if he had lips. But is instead just sort of a weird kind of onyx triangle that's just below the slot where his mouth is. And he will take all of you into the sitting room, and once you're there for about 5 minutes, a human male who Quintus and Dandarin you have seen before, but for the rest of you, looks to be of fairly average height. So he's like 5'11" to 6 foot tall. Is old enough that his temples are graying a bit, but clean shaven, fairly bright eyed. Looks like he sort of keeps himself fit. He's not taking on the poundage that servants often get. Dressed like a butler, and he will come and gather all of you and then lead you into the meeting room with Prince Orgev. And let me get Claris out of there too. And he will basically, when you go in, Orgev is standing there talking to Cogsworth, and Eric's will say, "Your Majesties, the company is here." And Orgev will say, "Thank you, Latimer. Please, we may need Hasdal on this one. If you could see if she's on the grounds, and if so, send her this way." And you see the butler kind of nod and say, "Of course, Your Majesty." And he shuts the door and walks off. And Orgev says, "My thanks to all of you. You've done quite a bit for us in the last few months, and I wanted to make sure that for all of you that were interested in our offer, that it was still on the table." And he looks to you, Lumio, and he goes, "I've received your request, and we will be able to do what we can with the renovations that you've requested."
Fantastic. Thank you.
And he says, Tertia has used hers to ask for a house adjoining the studio that she runs with Sidence. But from the rest of you, I've heard little. So if you do have something, please send it in. I don't need to hear it now. It's not important enough to hear now. This is something that can be handled by the Castellan or one of my advisors. So, what I will need from you all, and he says Cogsworth, and Cogsworth will pull out the map of Corvair, or at least the nearby area. And Orgev says, based on certain deals made by Quintus over the last few months. We will be receiving a light rail station here in New Seer. You all heard this before, and it pleases me to say that we will once again be joining the greater society. No longer just a pit stop on a back road into, well, stolen lands. As part of this, though, we need to negotiate additional sites. I'm certain it will be easy. Most towns want a rail nearby, but there will be, there's still the work of it. I have an envoy, and I need the lot of you to work as escorts for her. You'll be moving her safely, from here to Kinrun and back. Should she desire to go into Dargoon, then you would move her there as well. So it's up to her if, at the moment, I'm leaving it up to her if she gets the lay of the land to decide if venturing to Rukon Drow and speaking to Haruk is worthwhile. I think due to the fact that you would need to cross so closely to Skullreave, at the moment that's not the case. But, of course, Miss Belkin may think different. And he sort of makes a mark on the map right here where the knack is in Jekker's knack. And he goes, there's a Brailish town here, the only town in between us and Kinrun, named Drosin. Small, mostly a few inns, few farmers, growing some as due to the war effort and refugees over the last few decades, but still maybe 3/4 the size of New Seer. Beyond that is Kinrun. Kinrun is, for those who have not been, is it originally began as an outpost. It was Braelin's last fort before Southern Seer and before, Dargoon after that. However, in the decades since its construction, it has grown a good deal. I would put its population close to perhaps 8, maybe 9,000. The fort does serve as the central garrison, but the surrounding area is still well fortified. And it's good that they are, since things often come from home and make their way to Kinrun. So I will admit, this town may not have the best opinion of Sirend at the moment. So basically, every now and then, horrible creatures leave the Dead Grey Mist and just go rampaging across the countryside. And it's not the closest city to the Dead Grey Mist. That would be Gorgonhorn. But it's the closest Brailish city to the south. The closest to the north would be Vatharond, and Vatharond is also dealing with this, where sometimes shit just runs out, and you go like, oh look, it's a 20-foot tall pile of corpses that throws itself at us. Yay. So, yeah. And he says, so, you're to just escort Miss Belkin there. And if she would like to go into Dargoon, escort her there as well. If not, bring her home. Should be easy enough, but I feel that this group, given what they've gone through over the previous couple of months, well, number one, the lot of you likely want to get back on the road. You seem traveling types. And number two, you are the majority of who I can spare for something like this. Do we have any questions?
So just to confirm, it's just the one individual we need to find and escort back, correct? No additional
yes.
contacts, other tasks that need to be accomplished?
Unless Para has something else that she wants done there. Unless Para has someone else that she wants to bring with, or something else that she wants done there. No, I don't believe that there is anyone else that you would be escorting, and I don't believe there's anything else that you would be doing there. That said, Para is not... And he'll pause, and he's kind of like tapping at his lips, and he goes, Cogsworth, would you like to take this one? And you hear, certainly, Your Majesty. Para is of a forceful personality that tends to chafe with those who do not give her enough time to get to know her better. There is very low chance that she has anyone else that will be accompanying her.
I see. All right, then.
As for if she has any other tasks for you in Kinrun, She may. She is an incredibly skilled diplomat when she wishes to be, and she will do what is necessary to connect us with the town if she thinks that's of benefit. So it may be that you need to be open to the idea of her putting your skills to work in order to make this trade deal go through.
Sounds reasonable enough. I have no more questions. How about the rest of you?
I don't mind this being a bit touch and go. I think that suits our capabilities.
And he says, Orgev goes, yes, if this were a battle plan, we could put together a more strike by strike, move by move, plan by plan sort of affair, but this is diplomacy and it's often dirtier.
Well, when do we leave?
You can leave as soon as you gather her. From what I understand, she should be waiting for you to come and get her right now.
Oh, well.
Apologies for the short notice, but he kind of like grimaces a bit and goes, there are many who would see our settlement fail, and a last-minute departure was called for.
Can't be helped, I guess.
It's understandable given your position.
So, and he will give you the address and the location in town where Para Belkin lives. Her name is... And she is apparently off in sort of like this-ish neighborhood. Somewhere like near the Jarasco and so he'll give you the address and says you should be able to find it. We've done what we could over the last year or so to start erecting the street signs. So please do be off and just keep an eye on her, keep her safe, and have your reports ready when you get back.
All righty then.
Reports?
Don't you?
All right, we'll see you when we get back.
And yeah, so you guys can sort of head out to Para Belkin's place. Did anybody have anything else they wanted to bring up to Orgev first?
Not to Orgev, but Dandarin's got to swing by the smithy to tell Uswin what he's going to go do, and then to pick up the wagon for the group.
Okay. So
So Colossus Dandarin will do that, destroying half of New Seer, and then the other half is goes to pick up.
It is kind of weird how much bigger you are than your house.
All right, I'm a dwarf. I pick up the hold and put it on my back.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys can always like come out of there and just cut across and go grab that and then head over.
Sure.
Hi, Uswin. I'll try not to be back in a month this time.
She goes, I swear, if you take another month, I'm gonna talk to Ma, and I'm gonna tell her to just make and send another brother. I don't need this.
Oh, geez. Well, unfortunately, dear Uswin, we're not just going to recover something this time and getting waylaid and cursed, hopefully. But we're going for... He's got like a sour look on his face. Diplomatic reasons.
And he goes, Uswin goes, you're on an escort quest.
Aye. But fortunately...
I've heard of these. I bet she walks so fast that you can't keep up with her if you're walking. But if you run, you'll just pass her right by.
God damn it. God
It's
damn
the
it.
worst.
That's
They
why
do it
I'm
on
bringing the
purpose.
wagon. See, she goes at my pace, so she goes at no pace.
I'll
wait,
get the
mechanic
wagon,
is-
and I will drag her behind the wagon if I have to.
And Dandarin's he's gonna do the finger to his head thing, like, meh.
All
The
right.
weight mechanic is totally
All
busted.
right, I've done enough work that you should have enough standards. If anyone has a commission job, though, just well, you know where to put them.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I'll tell them there's a bit of a wait, and the wait's about 3 weeks. But if they'd like to rush it down to 1, well, can always do a bit there.
Of course, of course. Well, I'll trust your judgment, dear sister. Now, time to go herd some cats.
And
Dandrin will go.
so yeah, and as you're all walking out, Uswin will wave to all of you, and I'm sure for those who were like getting the armor and whatnot, you all met with her at some point over the last couple of weeks so that she could actually like help with the fitting and or like help you with your weapons and so can I get from any what's got it a knowledge local?
Oh, I got it.
A knowledge local check, you say?
You got it, eh?
It actually has it now.
Well, I'll give you 2 of those.
Hey, twinsies.
I have not rolled higher than a 4.
I know
far.
it's been real good.
I'll take the 32.
Oh, gee, I wonder if Quintus knows.
Would you take the 24 for 2 Scooby sticks? So, let's see. For Delian and Lumio and Quintus, the 3 of you know, you have heard a little bit about Para Belkin. What you have heard is that she is rather unlikable, apparently on purpose, like forcefully so. Like not even like Delian style where it's like haha pranks. It's just more like aggressively unlikable. Until she's in like some sort of diplomatic setting, and then she's just like really, really good. She is one of Orgev's primary envoys for a reason. She gets shit done. She is somebody that he can send far and wide with ridiculous requests, and 9 times out of 10 they will actually sort of happen. So that's what like all of you know. Quintus, you know a bit more about Para, including the fact that she has she sort of came from nothing, made something of herself, made like really, really made something of herself in Seer, and then lost it all. She is back to worse than where she started, and has taken it really hard, harder than most, to the point where like Quintus, with his ability to sort of like read into people, would probably know that this is the defensive mechanism of somebody who is like, I can't lose it all again if I don't have any friends. Yeah. So she pretty much keeps to herself, and is very, very frequently just not in town. And when she is in town, she has a small little spot that you've definitely seen her go to. And it is right over here. It's this little gray house. And yeah, so I will put you all to the little gray house.
Yeah.
One second here.
Love the little gray house.
That's a lovely little gray house, and we're gonna make another little gray house.
We're
Right
gonna make
next
it,
to it.
dude. To anybody who hasn't seen the Bob Ross documentary on Netflix, you should definitely watch it. It was really
pretty
good.
good.
A heavy bias on it though.
It was very good and had a very heavy bias. Yes. With the bias basically being the people that Bob Ross worked with are absolute pieces of trash. But it was, I mean, I've never seen a documentary without a heavy bias,
Yeah.
but it also had a very heavy bias.
I mean, what I'm saying, like, there's legal action happening.
Oh yeah. Well, there was legal. Anytime you badmouth those people, there's always legal action happening. They do it like if you're like, these people aren't the best. They're like, oh, so you think that we're all criminals? I'll show you criminal, and then they just like sue you.
Okay, so
Yeah.
all right.
So anyway,
Forgive my ignorance.
I'll show you, criminal. Oh.
you guys appear in front of a small house. Looks to be one floor. It's comprised of pretty much like it's just kind of lifeless, dull gray bricks. This looks to be less quarried stone like some of the houses around here, and more that somebody made this out of like probably cement. Like we mixed a bunch of blocks with a bunch of dirt and got it wet and then dried it out, and then we built a house out of that. It is just lifeless, and the brightest thing about the house is that the The shingles on top are made of a different color clay. Yeah, that's what you see. And what would you like to do?
I mean, do we see Para outside of her house, or is it clear right now?
No, you don't see anything outside of the house except for like basically about where Dandarin's token is. There's like a vase right here that has.
Maybe I need to.
Yeah, I gotta refresh. I'm not seeing this.
Yeah. hang
I'm
on.
still on the overview map.
Oh, there we go.
There we are.
I did the thing where I looked at the map again. I looked at the map.
It's
and
my
was like-
old token.
And like, this is the map, and then didn't like show you guys.
Oh, okay. Could you bump me over then?
I have now. Everybody should be on it now.
I am not.
Then refresh.
I can
Yes, you
see
should be.
Dandarin entrapped.
I'm actually showing that you are not even in the game, Travis.
That's neat. Give me a sec.
Yeah. Also, there's two charades.
I see two Shroots, old Dandarin.
We're multiplying.
I told you once, if I told you twice. If you've got one gobble, you're gonna have 1,000 of them.
Hold on, that is old Dandarin. Why is that old Dandarin?
They breed. Everything breeds. That's not compelling.
Very quickly.
No, I
Well,
know.
I mean, that's subjective.
I know why it's old Dandarin. It's because I upgraded the token, but I didn't upgrade the actual character, which meant that when I put down a new token, the new token was the old token because I didn't upgrade the token. So now it's the new token. There we go.
And I am entangled.
You are entangled
Look,
in that
I
luxurious
can only do
beard.
so much. I don't know why you're.
You can only add entanglement to me.
Apparently, I don't own any token with vision in this scene.
Look, stop being so greedy about what you can and can't see. There you go.
You know, I don't mind not interacting.
He's terrified.
with the scene.
So, what would you guys like to do?
Quintus just goes up and knocks on the door.
Okay.
He's not fucking around with this.
Yeah, you go up, you knock on the door. There's no answer.
Right. Well, I'm not. That's not the way that we're playing this. So Quintus is going to move around to the south side of the house
Sounds good.
and start peeking in windows because he can.
So you, I know that I put windows on this one, but you can't really see in them, like the curtains are drawn.
Fair enough.
But when you get over to here, the curtain isn't drawn, and it looks like this room has been trashed. Like looking into it, it looks like the little mattresses for the beds are taken off and sort of like cut open. You see this chest of drawers, but the drawers are all like sort of sprayed across the room. You see this chest, which looks to be not just opened, but also turned upside down and then stomped on in such a way that the like
It'll never close again.
yeah, it'll just never close again. And from where you are, you can kind of a little bit see through this door, and it looks like there's further mess in the main room.
Quintus is going to pop back and say, it looks like the interior may have been violated. I'm going to circle around the back, see if there's another entrance, but we may need to force our way in.
All right, I'll be a big obvious distraction in the front here. Dandarin's going to try the door.
As you do.
The door is locked.
Dandarin would like to non-aggressively fix that.
Okay. Give me a disable device check. While you're giving me that disable device check, Quintus, you do
Yes.
find another door right there.
Okay. Is this door locked?
That door is also locked, yes.
Okay.
Hold on. You've done that. Dandarin rolled a thing and got that. So Dandarin, you're picking locks. Picking locks takes a little bit of time. That will unlock it, but it takes a little bit of time. While you're doing that, Delian and Lumio, looks like you guys are walking around the other way.
Yes.
Okay. So this window is sort of like basically what you notice is that it looks like this window is broken, and so while the curtain is down, so that you can't see in, you can basically, Lumio, if you want, just reach in or like use the Brandastock to move the curtain inside so you can see in.
Mm-hmm.
And once you do, this room has also been tossed. Just this like sort of king size bed is just leaned up against the wall. The chest on the bottom has been rifled through and flipped open. It just looks like a mess. There's not a lot in this room, but it still manages to make it look terrible.
Dillian, would you like to access the room?
Looks like you've accessed it.
I was offering to support you into the room.
Oh, yeah, I guess we should.
Delian, can you give me either a climb or acrobatics check with a +2 for Lumio's assistance?
Sure. Funny enough, I will do that for you.
Please work.
I think that's all right.
Yeah. Lumio, you're able to help Delian in no problem.
Excellent.
I will move back over to Dandrin. Dandrin, you have managed to open this or unlock this door, and may
Alrighty.
now open it. Once you open it, it's wrecked. Everything in here is wrecked. Nothing is where you see it on this thing. Everything is where it probably should have been on this picture. The chairs are strewn about. It looks like the table has been flipped over and potentially broken or scratched before it was flipped over. All of these shelves with the potted plants on them, like everything is just either the dirt and the flowers ripped out or just smashed on the ground. You are not...
The spice rack is terribly mislabeled.
This spice rack is... Somebody has put all the salt in the pepper. Yeah, everything looks terrible. Jumping real quick to Quintus. Quintus, you attempted this door. This door is locked.
Quintus pulls out a skeleton key and attempts to apply it to this door.
Okay, what does that do?
It allows me to make a disabled device without having any skills or ranks in it at a +10 bonus.
Do it. Yeah, that's enough. You are able to unlock the door.
Is the door?
You find yourself in what looks to be sort of a storage area / larder, much of which has just been knocked over or rifled through. Somebody was clearly in here, like, making a mess. And yeah, it just looks... It looks obnoxiously messy. Like, no person would actually keep anything like this. This is very intentional.
Quintus is going to take that as a sign that somebody is using the mess to hide something and is going to search the room thoroughly.
Okay. You will begin searching the room thoroughly. I will ask you for a perception check here in a minute. All right. Lumio and Delian. Delian, you have been sort of helped into the room by Lumio. And the room is just a wreck. What would you like to do from there?
I'll try to help Lumio in.
Okay.
Oh no, that would.
Oh, so you okay? I get this now.
Delian,
I understand.
I would like to put you into danger and then leave.
Sacrificial lamb. I get it. Thought we were friends. I get it.
I don't like being made fun of.
We were friends.
And I would be stuck in this window for a good number of hours before anyone could come along to actually help me.
Thought we were friends. I guess I'll check out everything by my lonesome. Everything's trashed. Hello? Oh, hey.
Ah, Delian, good to bump into you.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk to you
nice.
about your armor's extended warranty.
Oh God. Oh God. Get me out of here.
I reach in a hand to help him, but it's too late.
Uswin's already here. Uswin's already there. No, yeah.
No,
well, it
Delian,
looks
we
like,
can get this to you on a loan. Very small interest rate.
No, it's fine.
Where's Sharut? I've been meaning to ask him if he wanted to buy something new.
Well, speaking of which, Sharut. I am also going to begin kind of looking around, seeing it. So obviously the place has been tossed. Dandrin's kind of looking around, see if he can find signs of like a struggle, to see if like they weren't just casing the place and looking for something, see if they actually like maybe
see if there was
fought
any
and
actual
kidnapped her.
like combat or grabbing or anything like that here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if it's like pots were thrown as opposed to just like ripped out and searched. Kind of a thing.
Gotcha.
Sharut will also do that check.
Sounds good. Okay, so Sharut and Dandrin, you're going to give me perception checks over there. Lumio, are you just hanging around outside?
I'm going to slowly move around the building,
Okay.
looking for any kind of damage or anything like that.
You have a shadow with you the whole time as you're going. Somebody
Unforeseen consequences.
somebody who is just walking right next to you the whole time, and she will actually tell you because she just saw it as Dandrin opened the door. It looks like the entire place has been tossed.
I agree.
It was messily done. Lumio, give me a perception check.
I don't have eyes.
An odd thing for a character to not have.
What a...
He's technically correct.
Why would you say the... Okay, sure. You don't have eyes. I believe you. Okay. So yes, you are doing a loop of the whole thing. Quintus, can you give me your perception check, please?
I would love to. And regardless of the status of this, Quintus is also going to he's going to activate one of his uses of his spiritualist powers to grab a talent from the divination sphere.
Okay. Which talent are you grabbing?
Detect secrets.
Sounds great. So with your perception check, I will let you know what you find here in the larder.
Okay.
So what you find is on this this side is where most of the food is. There's lots of little like jars of beans and jars of rice, and you have a small kind of like closed off bucket of flour. Or at least everything was closed before it was all open and just kind of thrown around. What you notice is that there is nothing, and I do mean literally nothing in here that is perishable. Like nothing. And that just comes across as a little weird to you. Like, you would expect the beans and expect the rice and expect the flour, but the fact that there's nothing else in here is weird.
Where's the cheese? Where's the ham hocks? Where's the...
Yeah, exactly. Like, most places would have something, but there's just nothing in here. On this side, what you find appears to be mostly sort of bundles or rolls of cloth. You're seeing lots of like and fairly vibrant colors. Like there's blues and pinks and mauves and reds, and some of them have been sort of sliced through. Some of them have just been unrolled. But there's just a lot of just cloth, and sort of like just a couple of like little cases that would have like sewing supplies in there. So that's what you have found with your detect secrets. I'm sure this is something I'm going to have to read. You may spend a spell point to divine for things expressly designed to be hidden.
Yeah.
This includes secret doors, hidden caches, secret compartments. Not only does this detect the presence of such secrets, but it also gives you knowledge of their trigger mechanisms. This only detects doors, passages, and openings specifically designed to avoid detection. What bullshit. And also hilarious. Okay.
Keep in mind also caches. So if they're like, aha, I've stashed a key in the... It's like, I know where that is.
Okay, cool. So you're doing that. Does that have like a range that it works through? Is it still like a cone of detection?
It is a cone of detection.
Okay. Where are you coning?
So right off the bat, the obvious thing is to cone the room at a kind of 45-degree angle. So...
Okay, so you're basically... Go back to where you were standing. You're doing like this, basically?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. I'll get back to you in just a second.
Sure.
But I will tell you that your initial ping is yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Sharut and Dandarin, the two of you were looking around for like, Dandarin, you were looking for signs of a struggle. Sharut, you were looking for like things that were out of the ordinary. So Dandarin, please give me a perception check. Not seeing much that would indicate signs of a struggle, unless the struggle happened across every room and every object of the entire house. If this was one of those like
My God, it
superheroes,
was a knockdown, drag out. Every single room was a fight scene.
He took my chair and he hit me over there. Then he took my table and he hit me over here. Yeah, so you're not seeing any overt or direct signs of a struggle. It looks like this was messy but sort of methodical. You're not getting more than that. Sharut, can I get one from you, please?
Yes, of course.
Yes. So, Sharut, you notice a couple things. Thing number one, all of these broken flowers over here, these like broken flower pots, the dirt seems to be sort of a finely ground coal, and the flowers are very good artificial flowers. It looks like this whole setup that was over here is just not real.
Just completely fake for decoration, basically.
Pretty much. But like so much went into that that like it would have been cheaper to get flowers based on the quality of the flower that you're holding. Another thing is that while it looks like this happened thoroughly and pretty relatively recently, you're sort of seeing sort of the last vestiges of a few embers in the fireplace. So that's what you got. Delian,
Yes.
what would you like to do here?
Let's sure I have that. I would love to check out the little nooks and crannies and just start,
Sure.
like, when you scan a room, you start in the left and then you just keep
Yeah.
going around.
This particular nook appears to be the bathroom.
Lovely.
It is
Nothing's in there. I hope.
Nothing is in there. This is one of the sort of modular designs that they've been doing with the houses, since there isn't actual plumbing at the moment, where basically you have this, and instead of it dropping into the the river or the lake or whatever the wells are coming from, it basically just feeds out into a pot in the back, and then once a week or so somebody comes and grabs all the pots and burns them. So relatively good design considering the like overall kind of terribleness of New Seer.
Okay. Delian will peek in and go, and then immediately move on.
Yeah, sounds good. And then you wanted to go into here?
Yeah, I believe so.
All right. So when you're in here, go ahead and give me a perception check to sort of look around.
Sure, I will do that.
What you're seeing is you're seeing a desk this desk is upright. The chair is sort of broken against the wall over here. This mirror has been smashed into the floor. This like sort of bathing screen has been just kind of like ripped in half and thrown down on the ground. And then you're seeing what looks to be like those sort of old kind of like cast iron wash basins. Or not cast iron, like stainless steel wash basins.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I see Lumio outside the window.
You can see that there is a window sort of right behind this thing, but there's
Yeah.
also like the big mirror on the desk right in front of it
Okay.
that blocks the majority of the window.
Okay, so I have no idea Lumio's there.
You can probably kind of like see his hat and the banner off the Sashimono that he's wearing as he walks by, but
Okay,
that
well,
that would be about it.
No, I wouldn't say anything.
Yeah. Cool. So, you notice a weird thing in this room. And that's that, like, this would be like the bathing room, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no toiletries in here. There's no soaps. You see this sort of makeup desk kind of thing. The makeup desk has basically a couple of hairpins that are kind of scattered on the ground and a bristle brush, but you're not seeing any soaps around the tub, no rags, no nothing like that.
And for a diplomat, that's kind of odd.
Yeah, it's a little weird. And then Quintus, so you get the standard like magical yes, and then you get a 1, and then you get that it's here.
Okay. I also I made a mistake about how this works. So this is actually an emanation from me within medium range.
Oh, really?
Yes. And it is when it happens, it reveals the strength and location.
Gotcha. I'm gonna say that his relative newness with it makes it a cone.
That's fine.
For right
I'm
now.
fine with that.
He'll learn how to see secrets behind his own head later.
That's
Now he has to look in the direction he's detecting like a plebeian.
that's reasonable. But he's gonna pop over to, like, having kind of recognized that that's the case. He'll sweep over there in a second, but he's gonna scan this room as well
Okay.
to the south,
Sounds good. So
and
when
then
you
the room to the north.
when you walk in here, you're not getting anything.
Okay.
I have a question about this. Is it specifically looking for like secrets?
Things designed to be hidden.
Yeah.
It would ping on Dandarin.
Quintus is gonna file away that information, but not anything.
Yeah.
Oh, and I guess it would ping on Delian too.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, like you would get the ping of actually Well, no,
Hang on.
because with the cone, the way I
Oh.
drew it, Delian was actually out of the cone, so you don't get the ping on Delian. But when you look at him later, you will definitely see that Delian is hiding things.
I like the idea that probably most of the party is straight up yes, and Quince
Yeah.
is just like interesting. Okay.
And then at some point, you're gonna look at Forsidna, and she's just gonna be grimacing and like white knuckling the hilt of her sword, and you're gonna be like, this person has no fucking secrets and is all rage. So in here you get one, and it is under the chest.
Do I know the mechanism to open it?
Does it tell you that? Oh yeah, it does tell you the
It does.
mechanism to open it. Yes, it's basically you have to pull the chest in sort of an awkward way. Like you basically have to pull and then do like kind of a circle on the chest, leaving it on the ground, and that will trigger the mechanism.
Okay. And what about the one on the desk?
The one on the desk, yes, you also learned the mechanism for this one. It was basically there's a specific way to open the drawers,
Gotcha.
and that will open the mechanism for this.
Okay. Quintus first is going to go to the desk and do that.
Okay,
Uh,
so the drawers for this one, you basically have to like gather them up
Mhm.
and put them back in, and they slide back in, and then you sort of like, pull one, pull the other, push one, pull the other, and you do this thing real quick, and it just takes you a second or two.
Yeah.
And when you do, this whole sort of wall just kind of like moves out. The window is still attached. Or sorry, the mirror is still attached to the window, but the mirror is no longer attached to the desk. The desk is just there as like an obstacle. So it makes it that somebody could like pop these open real quick and then sort of jump out, but leave the desk there to like block anybody that would be following them.
Gotcha.
Um,
Quintus will wave at Lumio on the other side.
Yeah, Lumio, the wall opens, and you see Delian and Quintus on the other side.
Oh, hello.
Well, if you were looking for a way in, that's open to you now. So
Yeah,
there you go.
and
Thank you.
So while you're doing that, Dandarin and Sharut.
I think Sherwood's gonna go check out this room here.
Okay.
Tannerin's just
and
gonna.
What are you looking for in the room?
Basically, I know this room is trash, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
basically anything out of place.
Okay.
Um,
Go ahead and give me a perception check. So what you see in this room is that there are there's two beds, and they look like they're relatively small, kind of twin beds, or like junior beds, the kind of bed that you would probably buy if you had like a pair of kids and you need to put them both in one room. And then you have this, and they're all like ripped to shreds, and they're like, this would be a comfortable bed for you and maybe one other goblin if you guys really wanted to get close. And then when you start looking at all the clothing that has been pulled out of this chest, all the clothing is like kind of large, like for like a big burly human. Like it's like big overalls, that sort of stuff. It just doesn't seem to fit that those clothes would be in this room.
Can I have a closer look at the clothes? Like, do they have any pockets or anything on them? Can I
Yeah,
dig
I
in?
mean they look to be like laborer's clothes. So it's like whatever the Eberron equivalent of like overalls and a plaid shirt would be. Which would probably still just be overalls and a plaid shirt. It's, a couple of pairs of like gigantic work boots. It's various pairs of pants that would be like too big around the waist to fit anyone in this party except for Dandarin, and too big on the legs, or too tall on the legs to fit anyone in this party.
So really tall.
Yeah, like you're looking at the clothing that like the Big Show would wear.
Okay. Out of place.
Yeah, it doesn't fit how overall tiny like everything else in this room is. So, so that's what you have found, Dandarin. What would you like to do with the broken dining room table that you're standing next to?
Well, obviously, I'm just going to repair it automatically. But
I hold my hammer to it, and now it is complete. It is whole once again.
It's been sharpened.
Like, I am going to say this right now. Spheres is fun. Blacksmith is bullshit. I legitimately could just do that.
You're literally Fix
Um,
It Felix Jr. from
Basically, why do I fix everything I touch? Where's my powers? Yeah, so Sharut was kind of exploring the same place I was, right, earlier? You didn't explore up here.
Uh, Sharut hasn't really looked around in this area yet, but
I will look around for any additional evidence.
Sure.
Either evidence or because dwarves build down. So my instinct is, does she have a hidey hole?
okay.
Oh shit button.
Yeah, go ahead and give me the perception check to look for sort of hidey holes and that kind of thing. All right. So what you're seeing here, you're kind of like moving stuff out of the way, trying to like look at the floorboard, see if anything pries up easily. You're actually seeing a couple of marks at places in the floor where it looks like someone else had a similar idea. Like somebody with a crowbar is trying to pry up certain things, and so they're still loose. And when you pry those up, probably using like the sharp edge of your hammer, you
Time
look,
for my Utilis shovel hammer.
yeah. When you pry those up, you look down at packed earth. The whole house looks to be constructed about maybe half a foot, maybe a whole foot above the earth. So there's a small crawl space underneath this place, but it looks like you can actually like kind of dip your head down there and look around, and there's just
So like Sharut and Delian could do it.
yeah, it's too tight a squeeze for you to even use the squeeze mechanics, really. But it looks like it's just packed earth. It doesn't look like there's any sort of holes down there that you've seen. It's just this is how the house is constructed. But what you do notice is you see this bowl of fruit. You have found the various pieces of fruit, and they're all fake. And then
This is
once you like kind of pick that up and you go, what the fuck, and you kind of like go over to this table right here, the like the prep table that's next to the hearth / cook fire, and you see that there's like a plate there, or a cutting board that has like a slice of meat with a knife on it, like that's on the floor, and that's just all one solid piece of not real cutting board or real meat.
Is anyone else here getting the distinct impression that this is all some kind of facade? Perhaps a test?
Yes.
Yes.
Hmm.
Huh?
Leon, we're talking about how this place is some kind of facade or testing facility, seeing if we've got what it takes to notice that something is obviously amiss.
Well,
Which
I
means
just
something
watched
is
a
also
wall
subtly
open
amiss.
up, so yeah, something's amiss.
Well, I just got the wall to open up, so yeah. I mean, I'm basically
Just the rest of us are a little thick on these sorts of things. Except for maybe Leon. Leon, you and Quintus, we're going to count on you two to carry us on this one.
You're very heavy.
Spy stuff. No, I'm metaphorical. Metaphorical lifting. So
Oh,
if I wanted someone to lift and it wasn't me, it'd be Sharut.
Shoot can carry.
But boy knows leverage like no one else.
okay. You're very heavy.
Sharut's very good at lifting. Use brain, not back.
So Quintus,
Yes.
what are you doing?
I am activating the chest.
Sure thing. Yeah, you will you activate the chest, you kind of like pull on it and do the weird sort of circle on the ground and then push it back in. And that basically lets you open up a second layer in the chest. And when you open up the second layer in the chest, it's just not quite a false bottom. You're kind of like it's literally just kind of like a hidden little pocket. And what is in there is a key and sort of a like velour bag that looks to be pretty packed with whatever it's holding. And another velour bag, much smaller, that is not packed. It looks like it has one thing inside.
Okay. Taking those bags, Quintus is gonna switch up his divinations and see if they are ringing out with magic.
Neither of them.
Fantastic. Then he is going to empty them out on the bed.
Okay. Which one are you doing first? The big one or the small one?
The one with the single object.
The one with the single object, what drops out of it is about a 1 inch across blue gem in kind of a sort of classic sort of circular cut, with a sort of brilliant orange red white star pattern on the inside. Quintus being who he is and noticing the sort of general like this is a Kundarak measured star sapphire.
Yeah.
Yep. It is money, and a lot of it.
Yep. Neat. Okay. Well, he just puts that back in the bag.
Okay.
There's no need for that to make its way anywhere.
And the smaller one, when you do the same to it, is 150 coins in denominations of 50 silver, 50 gold, and 50 platinum.
Gotcha. He puts those back in the bag as well, and we'll seat them like...
Delian, your ears hear coins.
He puts it all back in the chest, except for the key, and then reverses it so that the container closes.
Okay.
And then turning around, key in hand, says, "Well, we've got a key for something, and I'm not sure where this goes to necessarily. So I guess we start looking for a lock."
Is this a puzzle house?
That seems to be the case.
I think so. Yes.
You said
Kind of.
the embers were still kind of warm in this stove, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can I open that door?
Yeah, it's not even so like there's if you know the classic like hearth stove combo, you have like the fireplace below, and then you have like the cooked portion up top with like a smaller sort of oven just above that. So it's not in the oven, it's in the hearth. The hearth has like embers in it.
And are they actual embers, or is it fake like everything
Oh
else?
no. It's something is or was on fire here.
Huh. I guess Sharut's gonna try and sift through the embers.
Okay.
Make a reflex save to not get bitten.
Uh,
You and stoves, man. I don't know what it is.
Not again. Not again.
My God.
so
Don't worry, I'll save you.
So Sharut, what you see in this is it looks like somebody lit some papers on fire, and it looks like the majority of them have burnt down pretty low. There's one that actually looks like it's still readable, and even that one is not like super readable. But you're able to quickly like snatch your hand in and grab it. Like Sharut's a wiry little guy. He's fast. This is no issue at all for him.
What does the paper say?
So imagine you had like a full sheet of notebook paper. You now have about 1/6 of that. And it looks to be some sort of official document, and it's an official document that Sharut doesn't really recognize because this isn't his area of expertise. But you see a last name written in a very dainty script. So basically what you see is like, imagine you have the cursive of her name, but what you see is like this.
It's tough to see all that spelling because of the lighting.
Oh, I suppose that's true. One sec. I can
switch over to stream now.
No. It's fine. I'll just move it off of the map, and then you guys should be able to see it, I believe. If I do,
there's a B in there.
If I do that, is it better?
Yeah, I can see it better. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, like it looks like, her name is like Para Belkin. So you see H Belkin. You see a name underneath that says thanks Foundry. I can't delete that now. There we go. So you see a name underneath that says Tulvin CR. So
Sharut will say the name aloud while carrying the piece of paper.
And
Tolvin CR.
And you also see part of a seal. Can you give me either a knowledge nobility if you have that, or actually knowledge nobility is the thing that works for this. Like that's what this is.
He does not have knowledge nobility. So
Okay.
what he'll do is he'll walk over to the table, say the name, and basically place what he found on a place where somebody else can look at it, kind of thing.
Sounds good.
Quintus, we'll look at it.
Yeah, if you have knowledge nobility, go ahead and roll it for me. You
Quintus,
can roll at a
absolutely.
+2 because you should probably know this.
Quintus absolutely does. We'll roll that, and we'll roll that.
Yeah, you recognize two basically half seals. One is the kind of flaming sort of manticore esoteric design of House Kundarak. The other is sort of a not gilded, a whitesmithed silver cockatrice of House Civis. With your role, you would know that what this is a deed, or at least a copy of a deed. It's a copy of some deed that is apparently pointing to Para Belkin and some location at Tolver CR or Tolvin CR.
Let's see here. Okay. So I'm assuming that Tolvin CR is not something that I am able to make an initial.
You can give me a knowledge local check at a -2. Anybody who has spent a good amount of time in New Seer that would like to do that can do that. While you guys are doing that, Andy, as you have been walking the outside, you're not noticing anything untoward that they haven't already noticed. You see that there was another door in the back, but you also saw Quintus inside, so that was probably just how he got in.
I'm right there with you, Eric.
And you're not necessarily picking up anything outside that would indicate a struggle or a combat between people or anything like that. There's footprints, but the footprints, there's small alleys between houses, and people tend to cut across them to get to anywhere. So the footprints aren't necessarily indicative of anything of note. Dandrin and Shrewd, no idea. Delian, no idea. Quintus, you know that Tolvin Circuit is a sort of nicer area of New Seer, as far as New Seer has nicer areas. The homes are a little bigger. The people there are merchants or people who are doing rather well for themselves.
Okay.
Your average Tolvin Circuit house would be at least twice the size and of far better make.
Okay. So, kind of figuring this out, Quintus is going to turn to Dandrin and say, well, I suspect that you might be able to dig into some of this from the Kundarak angle, since clearly this is half a Kundarak seal. But whether or not they would divulge information about the deed to a non-owner, I think is under some question. That said, given some time, I might be able to find out more on my own. And that said, he picks up the burned fragments and pockets them with a nod to Sharut, if you don't mind.
Not at all.
Aaron's gonna pop his head in the loo and take a look down, just because this house is so full of crap anyway.
Yeah. So you look in there, and weirdly sort of spotless for a toilet that is basically just like a shithole.
So never been used.
Or at least never been used for number 2. Like you can see with the light that's sort of coming in through the windows, or like a glow from your weapon or somebody's lamp or whatever, you can see that there's a little bit of water down there, but there's no smell that would indicate solid matter.
This house is a facade.
Well, it sounds like the actual location that we should be searching is over in Tolvin Circuit. So.
Oh, the Richie part of town, is it?
At least that's what the deed would lead me to believe.
You mentioned Kundrak, and they wouldn't be anywhere except the Richie part of town.
to note, like Kundarak probably just means that this was like financed.
Yep.
And civis means that it's official and binding, because
Yep.
that's who you go to for documents that are financed or official and binding.
Well, in that case,
Yeah. So,
Andrew would not have said that.
yeah, I was just trying to make it clear that like Kundarak is
the player goofed up. Yes.
yeah. Like Kundarak's the bank. You go to the bank when you want loans. All right. So, you guys are going to head over to Tolvin Circuit.
Yeah.
I imagine with a gigantic wagon and also a fucking huge horse.
Who needs horse? I am Colossus.
The prince did not know by hiring this entourage that he was destroying half the town each time he sent them on a quest.
Half the town.
It's weird. They're totally normal sized when inside, but the moment they step out, it'll kaiju.
Yeah.
So, Tolvin Circuit is this road right here.
Mhm.
It is this road that loops around the House Beneath area. But it's also just kind of become the name of like this whole area of fairly nice houses. Because I mean, you can look at them and see that they're just a little bit bigger, just a little bit better than like some of the small little things over here. But what you have at the moment is just the road. There's a lot of houses on this road. So
That's correct.
what would you like to do?
As Quintus is explaining along the way, it's likely that Kundarak has kept records of who they lent money, and I'm sure that if we brought them the name and they were somehow convinced to assist us, that they would be able to pull that information. Given your connection, I believe, Dandrin, that you're the most likely to make that request. Alternatively, if we're willing to, well, I'm sure that I can find out on my own, but that may be less preferable.
All right. I mean, I can ask. I can't guarantee they'll tell me anything, though.
I think that perhaps the request may be the best initial step, and failing that, we can look at other methods.
All right.
All right. So, you guys leave here and head over to the Kundarak Counting House. Go ahead and this is despite the very, very nice and clearly well maintained walls of the Deneth Enclave, and despite how Prince Orgev may not want this to be the case, with his gate and his guards, the House Kundarak Counting House is very clearly the most secure place in the city. It's a House Kundarak bank, and their mark is the mark of warding.
Yep.
You would have a better chance of jumping in the ocean and not getting wet than you would have of stealing from this place. Because it's a House Kundarak bank. Good luck. There's only two things that House Kundarak really runs, and one's the banks and the other is the prisons. They're good at locking shit down. When you go in, this place looks a little out of place from the rest of New Seer, because it's using a lot of the same principles that you would see in counting houses that are, elsewhere in the world. Lots of, you see not just trained and fairly armed guards, both dwarven and not, but you're also seeing constructs. You're seeing homunculi that look like steel dogs. They're these things called iron defenders, and they just look like steel dogs with fiery eyes. So, what, for those who are entering, what would you like to do?
Quintus is going to take a free action to shudder at the steel dogs. He says, "These newfangled homunculi, they give me the jeebies. They're not natural."
These newfangled homunculi.
There's nothing wrong with a little bit of progress in constructs.
Lumio looks at both of them and turns his head sideways, but doesn't say anything.
Here, I'll
Shrewd's gonna look at them in awe and say,
What made of?
I'll put a picture of the Iron Defender on the stream. Oh no, wait.
I feel like
Wait, I can't put it on the stream anymore because I'm not going by the monitor. Oh
There you
no. Wait. I've got a way to do this. I will do this, and then there you go. It looks like this guy. He's a big dog.
keeping in mind that that Quintus's definition of new is probably a bit extended.
Yeah, like these have been around for decades.
Yeah.
But he pops out once every 10 years for not that long, and you know.
Yeah.
So yeah. What are you guys doing now that you're in the biggest, most secure bank in all of New Seer?
Star blasting.
All right.
I will assist the guards in taking down Delian.
That earns you a favor. Would you like to spend that on information?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I think
Took
that
one for the
works.
team. You're welcome.
Travis, what are you going to play next?
Don't know.
So
Yeah, Dandrin will just go up to he'll take a gander, make sure there's no like lines or anything, and if there's an open window, he'll go into it.
yeah, so you go up to the teller. The teller is a fairly young-looking dwarf who keeps his beard cropped very close and tight, but his mustache very much not. So he's got that like basically a 5 o'clock shadow with that like gigantic like braided dangler coming from his upper lip.
Dandrin will only judge him silently. He'll make sure he keeps it off his face.
Much like the beard.
And he goes, sir, good to meet you. What can I help you for?
Well, actually, I've got a bit of a question. Not sure if you can assist me. You see, we've got a spot of bother. We're supposed to find an individual and help escort them. Unfortunately, the address we were given was bunk, and we've only got a partial on the correct one. We do know that they got the loan on the home that they're supposed to be at from your establishment here. And he'll kind of snap his fingers in motion, Quintus over.
Yes. The individual that we're looking for is Para Belkin, and she had most recently purchased a property on Tulvin Circuit.
A property on Tulvin Circuit. She must be doing pretty well for herself.
That's my suspicion, yes.
Well, see, this is very odd. You're coming to me with not more than a quarter of a deed and expecting that I can divulge a bit of client information to you. It's very odd.
You understand it's a very unusual request, but it's an unusual circumstance, I'm afraid.
Looking at this, it's looking like maybe Miss Belkin was trying to get rid of said deed and didn't want the address found.
Well, we're not sure. Based on what we saw at the address we were originally given, it looked like the place might have been tossed, so we're not sure that she's the one who was trying to stop it.
It's not even that the place looked like that it was tossed. It's that the
It was a facade a bit?
Yes, it was a fake house.
We would never sell her a fake house.
No, of course not. No, I imagine that you sold her a
The
correct house, but her
Yes, the address we were given originally was the fake house, and we found this. Tell you the truth, I honestly believe this entire thing is some kind of strange test. I don't get it, but I have a job to do, and alas, this is part of it.
Well, let's see what we can do for you. Can the two of you give me a diplomacy check? Either of you may take the primary. It's up to you. Who would like to take the
I
primary?
will assist.
Okay, Quintus, give me a diplomacy check. Dandrin, if you would like to assist.
No,
Whoa.
He does.
I have not rolled great tonight.
Quintus is like, if you could just please help us out. And Dandrin's all like, give us the fucking information! You look like a man with two working knees, and I'd hate for that to change.
Hey.
So yeah, like Dandrin, you're basically, you're getting a little frustrated. It's just like you've already expressed a couple times that you think this is a little nonsense. Like this is a little bullshit. Like somebody's testing me. Like just tell me the fucking information. And there's a point where he goes and he just like looks at a couple of guys behind you and like nods, and a couple of men with very finely crafted Soranath halberds walk over to you and say, "Sir, if you could please move away from the teller."
Those look like real nice halberds. It'd be a shame if something happened to him. But he'll comply. But he's like, I made that one.
And he goes, and the guy goes, "No, you didn't. This was made by the finest Soranath smith in town.
I am the finest Soranath smith in town, boy.
Huh. He goes, "Sure don't act like it. Never seen a Soranath that gets so heated over nothing. Also, aren't you a bit fat for a Soranath?"
And you think I'm fat? And then it's just gonna and he's just gonna flex on him.
You're wearing plate mail.
You're
Hell
wearing
yeah, it looks
perfectly
so good.
articulated mithril plate mail.
The biceps are articulated. When I move my arm like this, it make my arm look more big.
Honestly, he's.
I know you
called
can't
out
see me
apparently
through this
too many
camera.
times.
You can't see me on this camera, but look at me. Look at me. I articulated a fucking mustache. Of course I articulated my armor.
Stupid.
At this point, Quintus is like, look, we both know the red tape and circumstances. I'd rather that we go through official channels if at all possible. We are ultimately trying to find this woman at the behest of the prince, and if we can just go about our business, then...
Oh, and the guy nods to you and he goes, "Of course, sir. I've already called over my manager and he'll be here as soon as he can. We can't have people getting all ragey and shouting here at the teller line. If we allow it, it sets a bad precedent.
It's
Makes
not
people
conducive
think,
to business.
especially if we're seen to be helping them afterwards. It might make others think that they can come in here, shout, yell, get their way, and that's just not how we work here. You were keeping your calm. Your friend was getting a bit agitated, so we'll let him work out that agitation outside, and maybe later he can come back in. Ah, here's my manager now." And he sort of moves aside, and a sort of an elderly Kundarak woman with a very small pinpointed dragon mark that is just right over her eye. It's basically almost the entire dragon mark is on her right eyelid. So it makes it really weird that when she blinks, you just see this kind of blue-red tattoo every time. And she goes, "Hello to you. I'm Muja Kundarak.
I am Quintus Adradar.
Jorvi told me that you're looking to get a bit of information about one of our deeds that has been destroyed.
Indeed.
Seems something like someone's
yes.
in a spot of trouble."
We hope not. We hope that this is just a bit of a challenge to prove our mettle before we assist them, but it's entirely possible.
Well, if it's a bit of a challenge, I have little reason to help you. If somebody needs help, that means more to me. So which is it?
Without consulting them, I wouldn't be able to tell you. What I can provide is that the last address that we were given looks to have been set up as a cover. The house itself poorly made, and and he goes on to explain, there's fake fruit. They didn't store any perishable goods. The privy was never used.
You get about 3 facts in, and she holds up a hand, and she goes, "Sounds off. I'll help. Are you armed?"
Yes, always.
"Place whatever weapons you're carrying on the counter. Naught will happen to them, but I'll not allow you to carry them behind us as we look up the information for you."
Quintus pulls out a light crossbow just off his hip, and then from inside, an interior pocket, pulls out a spring blade and places a very finely wrought ring on the counter as well.
And she nods to one of the guards, who basically just walks over and stands in front of your stuff. And they let you sort of behind the counter, and you move into one of the offices that they have back there. And as you're moving, she says, "I don't know if you've ever been behind the counter at a Kundarak house, but I want to make things very clear for you. Should you try anything, your life is forfeit. The bank and our reputation are worth more than you could ever be."
I'm well aware of this and have no interest in testing those boundaries, nor even approaching them.
Good. I would hate to sully my men's week by having them have to kill someone so small and dainty. The name of him you was looking for was Beacon, I think? Belkin?
Belkin, yes, that's correct.
Good. Next guess was feckin', and I didn't think it was that. And you see her go over to a filing cabinet, and she starts sort of rifling through things, and then says, information such as house deeds, who they belong to for interests of prospecting, financing, and the like. There is a finder's fee attached. I will get the paperwork drawn up, but you will owe me 25 Galifar. Hopefully you or someone in your group is good for it. And she will go, here it is, and pull it out, and then move to the table and sort of slide it in front of you, but never take her hand off it.
Mm-hmm. That's fine. Quintus leans over, but his hands are
this is something of like, this is the master copy, and she's not letting you like have it. So she's just holding it, but you're allowed to read it. And oh, go ahead.
Quintus's hands are like firmly on the chair arms, but he's leaning over to see what he's got.
Okay. You get the address as is 22 Belkin Circuit, which puts it as like one of the bigger but also newer houses. And you
mean to say Tolvin Circuit?
Sorry,
Circuit?
Yeah,
Yes.
I said her last name. Sorry, 22 Tolvin Circuit, and you see her full name, what she paid for it. What she paid for it was a good number in the like thousands of Galifar. It looks like she dropped around 20,000 Galifar for this house, which is not a ridiculous amount in like a bigger city. It is a stupid ridiculous amount in New Seer.
Right.
But yeah, and that's what you're seeing.
Okay. Quintus is going to take a moment to memorize the document, and then nod and look up and say, "That's excellent. I believe I have everything I need."
The paper should be waiting for you at the front desk. Jorvi will see to you. All you'll need to do is sign there and then pay, and you're free to go. Should you refuse to do either one, good luck getting out of the bank.
No, it will be fine. I'll settle up there.
Good. And she will make you wait a minute while she sort of refiles the paper, and she closes it, and she gets up, and then she goes like, "In front of me, please," and sort of escorts you back out of the area. And when you get out to the front, your weapons have been very gingerly moved to the side, and there's a document in front of you that says, like, for financial prospecting and potential assistance, and everything is just waiting for like a signature and a payment.
Yeah, Quintus signs. He pulls out 2 platinum, 5 gold, places those on top, and says, "As always, thank you. Your service is excellent, and I appreciate and hope that we can assist this individual."
And they will let you grab and sort of like rehang, but not hold on to your weapons.
Yeah, he stocks them back.
And then you are allowed to exit to where Dandrin is sort of like sulking with 2 guards just standing by the door, like 2 additional guards just watching him. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like he was booted out. He was just asked to leave and complain loudly while he did. Yeah.
I complied.
The house that they have pointed out to you is apparently this'n.
That is where we go next.
So yeah, I will show you all real quick. Give me just 1 second here, because I'm pretty sure I've got the wrong Dandrin on this one too.
Oh boy.
And now it is correct Dandrin.
Look at that new hat, Dandrin.
Huh. Noticing the map's name.
God damn it.
What, you mean the old map of Real House? So
Andrew will politely but firmly knock on the door.
The door looks to be very closed. It is. You also get no one opening the door. Nothing like that.
Again, you know that in this neighborhood that if we go sneaking in through windows and such, that it's going to attract attention, right?
This is I understand why Orgiev wanted us to do it. I begrudge him for doing it to us.
Yes, well, she's not made it easy to find. Hopefully she's as circumspect on the road, right?
Yeah. Dandarin, can you give me a perception check?
Sure.
As you like walked this way to go, huh, and then walked back that way, you start walking, and then you like walk. You see the windows, and like inside, like the curtains are sort of moved aside, and inside you can just kind of faintly see the backs of some high chairs. And you start turning around to walk back, and then you realize something, and it's just at the edge of your mind. So you actually turn away, and you're moving back towards Quintus, and you realize that like this window has a hole in it about an inch wide.
There's something in
Yeah, are you moving up to it?
Oh, yes, but not like directly. He'll move to. Oh, wow.
Oh
no.
So yeah, as you move up to it and look in, what you can see is that right about here on the ground is a body that looks to be pretty finely appointed, or finely apparelled. What you see is somebody who is like wearing not the latest Siren fashions, but probably the latest Siren fashion when Seer was a thing. They are down on the ground, and there is the bolt of a crossbow, like blue and purple fletching, just sticking out of the back of their head.
Brute.
And there's a pool of blood around them, and there's also a trail, like a dragging trail of blood extending farther into the house. And I think that is probably where we're going to stop, and we will continue this one next week. So thank you everybody for watching, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.
Good night.